What if we did an emote making stream? That would be kind of sick. I'm kind of thinking of renovating the people flag emote that I made. I can do one for me, one for a couple of other people in chat. I mean, mine would obviously be the bird, and then the name of it would be like Peepo Marketable Domination. And it's just gonna be the people waving it wildly.
That's alright. We're gonna tear your kingdom down. Oh, thank you, Lord. The preachers are gonna preach your kingdom down. You better watch out now, Satan. Oh, the preachers are gonna preach your kingdom down. Oh, yes, you've been building your kingdom all in the house of God. Oh, Lord, that's all right. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Lord, 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 I heard a mother say the mothers are gonna break your kingdom down. Oh, you better watch out now, Satan. Oh, the mothers are gonna break your kingdom down. Oh, yes, sir. You've been building your kingdoms all over this land. That's all right, Satan. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. I heard Jesus out on the mount one day say, blessed are they that mourn. Ooh, 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 Lord, Lord. Oh, hallelujah. You know, this takes my mind back to the clay hills of Carolina. I never will forget that little wooden church that we had there. We didn't have pianos. We didn't have nothing but drums. There were times when the saints would just nod their heads. They would just pat their feet. I'd like to remind Satan one more time. His time is just about out. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, Satan, Satan, Satan. We're gonna tear your kingdom down. You better watch out now. Satan, we're gonna tear your
Mm-hmm. Uh, I'm so fucking ready to get that dough. I'm back, baby. We're back with marketable content. Holy fuck, we're raking in the cash recently. Let's fucking get it. I've been hitting them promotions. I've been hitting them raises. Percent after percent, year after year. But I'm never gonna own a home. Fuck you. My purpose is to provide value to my shareholders. I'm away from my family because there are no jobs left. I'm gonna become a meaningless cog in an uncaring machine. Fuck you. Oh, fuck. That one's... It's fine. My income's gonna be eaten up by all taxes, rent, and car expenses. 1/3 of my life will be spent sleeping. The other third will most likely be spent working. The last third will be chores and errands, just cleaning your room. I'm going to be too exhausted to do anything meaningful with what little precious free time I have left. I will visit my family once or twice a year, watching them slowly fade away from life until they perish. I am living in the most prosperous time in human history. There has never been anything like the end of history. Chat, how are we doing? How are we feeling? How's it going? How's your weekends? YouTube chat. Doesn't exist. That's fine. Shout out to YouTube chat. If you're in the YouTube chat, drop a like. If you're on the Twitch chat, you're a real one because you might actually be getting emotes soon. Alright. Let's take a look. What do the people have to say? What do the folk have to say? Let's see. The birdie folk. It's all gone. You're never fucking leaving? Where would you have gone? Damn, it deleted all the former messages. God damn it. God damn it, it's the fucking copier machine. Can you hear that? Hold on. Hold on. Fuck, I need to fix it. There's a jam in it. That did nothing. I meant to flip around. Holy fuck, it's this way. What the fuck? The transformations just do not work. Hello, I'm back. I teleported. The future is too bright, chat. There's possibilities. Absolutely. Question, what is the pond? Is it a community of content creators, a podcast? I never really understood. I came from straight or 8 streams. Also, I'm used to every streamer having their own Discord. Yeah, I don't know. We kind of like the idea that you can have a environment where if you buy into or you show a particular dedication to producing content within the community, yeah, we can absolutely make that happen. This art was drawn by the lovely Oscar the Sheep. He did a great job, and I did the rigging. You've got 3 hours left in this shift. Alright, well, we're gonna do some puzzles. I'm never fucking leaving. I did 12 to cover somebody after my regular 40. I feel that. Rob, you guys have been working. I know, Salty, you were like 50-hour streams. Or 50-hour streams. No. 50-hour work shifts. Yeah. Well, my week, actually this week, yeah, I don't know how many hours I put in, technically. Holy music. This is my desktop. Hold on. Is this drowning me out? No, you can probably hear me just fine. We got a job to do, chat. Can I just put this over this? This might actually work very nicely. Where's game capture? Not that. This? No. Sheet. Yeah. We got a job to do. Look. Amazon. Jeff Bezos has given us a job. Thank you. Get to work. Normal difficulty. Welcome to Bro Corp. Thanks, bro. It's good to be here, bro. You want to show me the ropes? Kidding, you got quite the rep. That means reputation. Stick around and I'll teach you rad stuff like that. Just remember what actually happens in accounting. Stays in accounting. Capiche? Yeah, I got it, bud. So new, dude. To be taken seriously around here, you need a business card. Type your name in and press enter. So it's to spell, is it? I'll call you new guy. I have like 4 people under me. You can't expect me to remember all those names. And that I would check work for the corpos or the non-corpos. I understand that. That makes sense to me. I see what you're getting at. I'm totally in the know. I got it. These numbers don't add up. It's giving me a headache. Last cell is supposed to be 1-4. Let's see if you're all cracked up to be new guy. Cell formula. This is supposed to be a 1. For the what? What does this mean? Last cell, this one has to be. Do these add together? I'm Corpy, your digital assistant. I used to be called your intelligent assistant, but the lawsuits... How do I even play this? Do I just... Oh, I put the numbers in here, and then maybe they add up here? Is that what's going on here? Yeah. Are these multiplying against each other? Uh-huh. I thought I was... Shut the fuck up, you stupid pencil. This pencil isn't fucking showing up on stream. I'm not delusional, I promise. I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise. Let's... We can only use it twice. Okay. Thank you. If you get stuck, try dragging in some random numbers. It should eventually work. Thank you, delusional. So can I just get to swap these? And that's it? Yeah, but this has to be like that. There we go. It worked! I literally just, I tried to, I broke it. Thank you. Here's the deal, with a business mind like mine and whatever geek things you got going, we could go places. First, I need to find out if I can trust you. Are you cool? Yeah. Awesome. Now that you're sworn to secrecy, there's something I need you to do. I mean, my friend Greg was doing some business on my computer and caught a couple of viruses. Can you use your nerd powers to get rid of them? I don't know. Yeah, I got you. I'm good at picking up bugs. It's the pet. Close the pop-ups. Okay, close. Magnum pills. Instant cash. Bruh, this isn't cleaning the virus out. This is a... I've never hacked the mainframe so fast. You've got the stuff. Thank you. So stop looking at dirty web pages and get to work. Thank you. Oh, fuck. Company's bleeding money. And some should be 9 or there will be no bonuses for me. I mean us. Typo. See if you can jazz those numbers a bit. Oh, what does this mean? C2 plus... That's the final? Oh, wait, these are minus. These are minus each other. I need to get 4? Because this is... What in the fuck? Corrections remaining 10. This is hard. What the fuck? Why is it working hard? What the... Bruh! Can I use 4? Can I use 4? Oh, wait, I think I can use 4. Okay, stop it. Shut up, pencil. Admittedly, math isn't your strong suit either, pencil. Yeah, okay. See if you can just... Okay. Should be... We can get 5 with 4 and 7. And then we need to get like 12-ish? And then plus 6? Yeah, easy. Holy fuck. We're so in. We're so fucking marketable. Hi, Ice Beams. Hello. I got a job. They're telling me to work on the spreadsheets. Success achieved. Thank you, corporate. You've been burning the midnight oil. Don't think I haven't noticed. So I've arranged for you to be compensated. Pizza for both of us. Thanks, corporate. How's it going? Oh, someone's hungry. I've been nibbling on some seeds every now and again. It's okay. Alright, back to work. Doesn't seem like you've eaten most of the pizza. Don't you have food at home? No worries. I'll just deduct it from your salary. What? Bruh. Huh? That's not how you know they care? Salty squids? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me. Oh, this is how the company cares? Yeah, the pizza. Seems like you can be trusted. See? There's nothing illegal. There's no psychotic pencil. Seems like you can be trusted. I'm highly marketable. So there's a more serious task. Lower floors are highly Get the fuck out of here, pencil! This looks good to me. I don't know, maybe color would do some trick. Get the fuck out of here, please, leave. I can't click. Their number should have resulted in 300. Get cracking. I need to nullify one of these numbers. And that's the sum of all of them. And this is each of them. But this is just 0. What the fuck? Yo, what? I need to subtract one thing? Is that it? No. What does this cell do? I delete all of this? Get out of here. And then if I put... Oh, I need to pick a number? Because they're adding together. I need 50. There we go. Okay. I feel like that. Wait, correction remaining 1? Wait, that was really narrow. I didn't even look. Uh-oh. I should keep an eye on that. I am a valuable employee. Look, I'm burning the midnight oil. I didn't have time to put on my my deep eyeshadow for work today. Wow. Getting rid of half the accounting department seemed to do the trick. I would never have thought of that. Thanks, partner in crime. Metaphorically. Thank you, corporate. Wow, who would I have thought I could... Wait, what the fuck is going on with this sentence? Wow, who would I thought that we could... Oh my god, I can't. We could save so much money from this firing half of our employees. This is AI Brain's text. The investors see me as the chosen one. I guess you're the reason why. Just keep that to yourself, okay? You've made me so much money that you've earned yourself a reward, a business card upgrade. We're going to the Bahamas. We're going to Turks and Caicos. You've got the knack for numbers, but you're not one for style. So let me guide you through this process. Look at that. Look at my business card. I don't know what the B represents though. It's kind of odd. Eggshell white makes those creative accounting numbers look clean and legitimate. Interesting. No, that's not it. Yeah. With your social and economic status, it's time to hit those sales projections. Oh, it's a Bermuda vacation, what do you know? I'm out of office and my expense reports don't make sense in the traditional sense. Final expenditure should be exactly 10,000 or I'm screwed. Take a pass on this before I submit them to corporate. 10,000? This is adding together? What is this? I can multiply a reference? Oh, okay, so how far off am I? And these are just adding from each other? What the fuck? This pencil's asking me if I want to hear racist jokes. It's like a little puppet. It's got big round eyes. What the fuck? Chat, I would. That's the difference? 6.5K? Oh, and then there's a 150. So I think this, and then I can pick any of these numbers to multiply by 2 and add. So we could do 50, which would be 1.1 left that I need to add. Yeah. Okay. This. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. There's no racist pencil. There's no racist pencil. Racism doesn't exist. Not here. Remarkable. We say unalive, not the other one. I was busy representing last night. I was busy consulting last night. Be a bro and help me with the cleanup. You've got one of those organized mindsets. Just pretend it's a spreadsheet and you'll have a great time. Don't make the science community look bad, bro. We're still removing from COVID, recovering from COVID, no pun intended. How am I making the science community look bad? You want to see? I saw Salty Squid, I saw the most Yakubian poster recently. They literally did, like, Yakub, while they were treating somebody for cancer. They got, like, a vitiligo. And then they gave them a different drug, and then the vitiligo reversed. It's evil. It's evil. I've been telling people. What the fuck? There's a doll. Okay, let's get rid of the fish, the broad, the beer. Go Lucky Bar. Let's do some research, chat. No Yakub emote? Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the entire canon. I don't have the entire canon of Orisha as emotes. By the way, I'm probably... Ice Beams, I hope you don't mind. I think I'm gonna see if I can steal your... Or like, renovate your... Ice Beams sussy. But for a Jende Conure instead. I don't know what kind of bird yours is. Yeah, that one! Look at it go! Look at it fucking go! Oh, you're not even on screen right now. Hold up. That deserves to have chat on it. Get the fuck out of here, pencil! If you can't handle the heat, get out of the microwave. There's fucking pencils following my fucking cursor across my windows. Get the fuck out of here. Where's chat? Get the fuck out of here, you stupid. Okay, I can't. Look. Alright, press it again. No, I will. Here we go. Fuck. Whatever. I'm not subbed. That's so unfortunate. I'm stealing it later, though. How's the walk? How are things back at the office? Enough small talk. There was a budget breach last night. I don't remember the details, but last cell should be -1 or we're both in big trouble. Please fix. Yeah, there's this. What? Okay, so this is B2 minus A2? B2 minus A2. Okay, and then... Oh no, what is this? These two are plus each other. What does this equal? How do you get this value? Those are minus... What the fuck is going... Oh my god. This is awful. This is awful. I'm not losing it. I'm not losing it. B2 minus A2. So we need this to be -1. Get the fuck out of here, you stupid pencil. Hello! This pencil's going... Oh my god. This is... I need to like... I'm not doing an entire screen recording. I can't believe you can't see the pencil. I'm not crazy. Okay. C1 minus C2. Oh, we need actually like a pretty big number here. Because we can't change this 7. Yeah, we can't change that 7. We can't change that 0. We can't change this cell. They lock particular cells. This cell we can change. And that's this too. Okay. So we basically need to subtract 8 from here. This needs to be 8. And then this needs to be 3. No. This has to be 4. What the fuck? It's okay to make mistakes? It's the reason you make so little money? Shut the fuck up. C1. Fuck off, pencil. There we go. Success achieved? I got a mistake. I got 1 swipe from corporate. Thank you, Salty Squids, for the 100 bits. Corporate wants you to have this Starbucks gift card with the reminder that we are watching your cubicle from camera 3B. I'm gonna wink. Hey, Margaret, from our HR. You know it's HR that's on those cameras. Although they probably export it to Flock, you know. You're burning company time? No. I'm taking a poo, don't worry. Brilliant job hiding all those nose candy expenditures into the spreadsheets. Corporate has been strict on that lately. But get with the program. It's the 90s. I need you to look cool in front of our clients. Thank you, corporate. You've been invited to Boss Man's yacht. A life-changing event for both of us, so I need to bring a snazzy PowerPoint. So get on it. Let's start with the most important. A killer backgrounds. Noise, bars, or stars? Definitely noise. Inspirational text that makes us look really smart. That's pretty good. So we can... Yeah. What? No, this looks good. Left. Nice. Contains more pizzazz. I can't open it and see what the achievement is. God damn. The warehouse is giving us trouble. Again, as usual, their numbers are way off. The correct number should be 16. Actually, hold on, Salty. For those 100 bits, let me see. Where did I throw my phone? I gotta... Oh, here it is. I'll show you the Jacobian magic that I witnessed. This is a marketable exclusive. And just get the fuck out of here, Pencil. You're kind of slow. We'll get along. I'm working on it. I'm trying to show people on the internet something. And then if we go to studio, I gotta get back to my job soon. Hold on. Image. Yep. 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 And then we do that. Alright, how big can we make this? I feel like I need to look at my own stream to see how this is gonna look. Alright, look. Can we read? Are we readable? I don't know if I can even read this. Anyways, look at this. Literal Jacobian magic. Incredible. Incredible. Insane. Yeah, that's right. It's real. It's real. Glad you guys are taking notes in chat. Let's get back to work. The music is gone from the game. They're no longer... They're upset with me. Alright. Okay, in that case, we can get... Let's get some Christmas music going on. It's like, I know, Pencil, I fucking know. You and I make a great team. Maybe we should start a side hustle. Yeah, you and I, the Pencil? Okay, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm down with this. We can do it. And then it was in my... Oh, this is no... Still studio. Let's get a little bit of Christmas music. It's the holidays. It's snowing outside. We're not going to be home until 10, but we're making $300 an hour. It's lit. It's lit. We may retire in a different country. Everyone else is going to be shit out of luck. The best pieces of Amadeus Travis Scott. A quick way to fall asleep is counting sheets. Too bad it's my job. Alright, Pencil, I get it. I fucking get it. We're moving. We're moving and we're pooing on company time. Okay. Chat officially popped. Any perk poppers in chat? For the sheets? I don't know how to put the pencil on stream. It does exist, trust me. My first job was MS Paint. Practically learned everything I knew from that gig. Thank you, Pencil. It's real, trust me. I can't make this shit up. Okay, so we can enter in a multiplication into either of those. And then... Brother, what? C2. Plus B1 minus A2. Very curious. Correct number should be 16. And I can just like grab, I guess, some of these numbers. Yeah. We've got 10. We can do 6 as well. So 10 plus... Yeah. So 10... What? Why is it 21? Oh, no, I wanted to do a plus. Brother! These are mistakes? And then 7 should just go here. This should just be 7. This should just be 7. And then... Wait. Did I fuck up? We need to add... 19? Fuck. I thought I was kind of cooking. Minus A2. Oh, it's minus A2. Oh, this should be the 10. This should be a 1, I think. Oh! Okay, hold up. This should be these 2. This needs to be corrected. We've got 17. We need to subtract 1. We can't. It's weird my entire personality fits on a floppy disk. No, pencil, it's alright. I think most people's personality could fit on a floppy disk. Like 5 megabytes max. I'm talking to my wife. You're taking your wife to the Nutcracker Ballet today for our anniversary? That's awesome! Congrats. Yeah. It's a great excuse to dress up and go out and see something nice. I saw it last year, yeah. Not yours? Not your what? Hold up. $21. Yes, I've been in the shit. Spent the best part of 90... Fuck, it's gone! The pencil. This number needs to be something like... 1. Yeah, okay, wait, so this is... Hold on. Wait, we're actually... Okay, hold up. We're actually fucking there. We're there. We did it. It was actually just once right in front of us. We opened our eyes. We could summit the mountain. Thank you, Travis Scott. Them bars hidden. Exemplary. There's no missing warehouse employees. They are not our concern anymore. You're a sweet, sweet angel for making them disappear in our reports. Yeah, thanks, corporate. Yo, thanks who suddenly got the golden boy upstairs. That's right, this guy. Bossman thinks I'm kinda tech prodigy after that PowerPoint you made, which was gray static. He called me a visionary, then dumped me a lot of additional work on me. It really feels like he's I can't fucking... Shut up, Travis Scott. The music is back. Oh my god. The music is so fitting for the game, and then like it's silent after a while, which is kind of annoying. It really feels... whatever. Take a workload off your shoulders? Yeah, sure. Fax is jammed. Try hitting the green button, or maybe it was the yellow. Oh, fuck. Oh, I can just plug it in. Seriously, the cord? I thought this was the wireless model. That's awesome. That is just stunning. That is just stunning. That's so... This is the wireless model. Curious. Indeed. Well, I think we're gonna do a little... We're gonna do a little bit of aping. 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 We're aping a little bit of aping. You know what I'm saying? Can we all see it? Yes, we can. Oh, aping? Hell yeah. Wait, maybe this is a controller game. Pause. Pause. Yeah, what are any thoughts on the Yakubian magic? Is it real? Who's the enemy of Yakub? In association with indie fun? Any knowers? Left stick. What? I'm so bad with left and right. Left stick. Right trigger. That was a bumper. Oh, I'm gaming, I'm aping. Yo, how do I run? Ape run. Ape free! Ooh. Oh, fuck, he's got a gun. Can I pick shit up? You can. Ooh. I'm picking up. Holy, we're gaming. Oh, fuck. Bitch. Yeah. I'm aping. Oh, I missed. I can just sort of run at them. Holy moly. Ooh. No, 2 shots! I'm down. They got me. Oh, I see. That is pretty cool. Okay. It's like speedrunning? Whoa. It feels like it's not worth killing them unless I can kill 2. Ooh. Whoa! Who's next? I'm coming for you! Oh, fuck. I think I just need to run right as fast as possible. Nice. Oops. Whoa. How do I keep missing? He had a bomb on him! Brother, what? Oh, he's also got a bomb! I've got no HP. I think I can take 1 hit. More. Dodge. Oh, those oh, fuck, I'm dead. Well, that was fun. That was... Yo, I almost made it. You too large, you can't see the game? Is that for real? Alright, we can do that. We can do that. We can do a little bit of that. How about that? How's that? We're aping. I was close. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sneaky ape. Sneak. Oh. Bam. Okay, I fucked up. Maybe I should just ignore these bomb guys. It's like not worth it, I feel like. Killing the grunts though is cathartic. Fuck! Okay, they've got range. Down corridors. They really do. Oh fuck. Easy touch. Oh, I could probably throw that explosive. Oh, you can hold them. Yo, you can grab the guys. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, the chainsaw's on the floor. Don't kill them. Maybe they're like lights. Whoa, they stacked on top of each other. Okay. No. Just murk them. Move on. Whoa! Motherfucker. Motherfucker! I need to ignore them. There's no way I'm not feeling the jazz anymore. The mix modernist jazz with virtuistic drumming, exciting visuals. Hey! Brother, what? Fuck. Can I throw? Can I throw? Okay, he just blew himself up, that's okay. Alright, motherfucker! You can. Fuck off! I was angled into the wall! Oh, okay. This is like Cowboy Bebop, literally. Yeet. Oh. Fucking bitch. I need to not run into them when I throw them. Holy. This is what it must have felt like to kill Osama bin Laden. Half you people on the internet would be okay, we're gaming. Ape is getting it. Ape is getting it. I just recognize your what? Hold on. Thank you for the fit check. I'm fighting I've been preting myself recently. Oh, I can just walk. Yo, grab the left trigger. There's fucking. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let me in. Left trigger. Holy moly. Oh, fuck. I'm low. Ape in distress. I'm on the clock. I gotta look nice. There's like a little, fuck Bateman moment. I'm so cute. Knock. See you later. Yoink. Uh-oh. No. Oh, you see that throw though? Uh-oh. I'm gonna tell him to fuck off. This... I need to kill the people that are gonna come up behind me. Like this guy. Give it to me! No! Motherfucker, I didn't grab it! What a dungeon. This is kind of cool. Honestly, kind of a really cool way to do a D&D dungeon. Oh! Usually this is my debate outfit, but I don't know if Kalinda wants to come on to debate. Whoa. It's time to bring some democracy to your friends. I got shot so many times. I caught so much lead, so much tranquilizer. Okay, this guy don't need to go. That's alright. And now we can grab this. Ape. Ape. Ape see man, ape kill man, ape free. Who want ape smoke? Whoa! Get the fuck out of here! I might have fucked myself. No, we're all right. Whoa. Skipped. Eat shit. False alarm. We do have a little bit of the marketable contents we can enjoy. Whoa, that's a fucking ton of damage out of nowhere. Unfortunate. How have things come this way? What is going on? I've been told bad things don't accumulate over time. The accumulation of wealth and resources is fake. You know, what's really going on? I need to yoink this with the left trigger. Oh boy. Oh fuck. Holy moly. That's a ton of damage! Hold up. Let's pull up the marketable content. I think I might be working on it. I'm enjoying this game. Let's pull up the marketable content, shall we? Where is it? Where are we? Green screen? There it is. Did I put it at the bottom? Why the fuck? There's still a pencil! They like me so well, they named the corporate.
The term Jevon's paradox
Holy
flags
moly.
the need
Okay,
to
I should've
consider
brought
the...
that. I should have pushed it up. I think we're okay with the pace. We need to add it to the stream for all the not so mobile people. Window capture? No, I think I want to do a media source. Why do I have to moderate that? Twitch, what is going on? Wrong game confirmed, schizo? No, the pencil's still fucking here. It's a virus. But it's not like, it's not a good agent. I'm not going to give it anything. I will not be giving it any details. Media source 2. And then does it only play if I swap to it? What in the...
The term Jevon's paradox flags the need to consider...
Hold up. You guys can hear it. I can't hear it. That's so strange. Alrighty. It's just gonna have to be a window capture job then. It's gonna have to be a window capture job, and I think we're going to listen and chill. How's that sound? Yeah, it's gonna be a window capture. Maybe there's like a slightly different... open with... Yeah, this one should be better. And I want to put it here.
The term Jevon's...
Holy moly, shut the fuck up. V-Explorer. No. Corpy, here we go. There we go, there we go. There it is. What is this? Oh, that's right. That's the Jacobian magic. Let's get the Jacobian magic out of the OBS stack. If you know what I'm saying. And then this, we can do something like this. This is going to need to be green screened. Or is it already? It's black for you guys. Why is that? You guys can't see it. I'm blinded by green? You actually can see it. That's so odd. And then if I... Sorry. Yeah, avert your gaze for a moment. It's actually a healing wavelength of light. So bask in it for a little bit, you vitamin D deficient son of a bitch. Thank you. What the fuck? Did you gift more bits? Thank you very much for 100 more bits. This is the scuff I pay for? Hey, hold up. There's no scuff here. We ain't scuffing. No scuffing. Get the... His fucking pencil is chroma key, but it's like, it's fine. Not that. Let's ape out. Here we go. Filter. Chroma key. Okay. Color green. Close. Alright, are you not blinded by green anymore? What does it look like? I feel like the capturing style is probably not... Capturing method? There we go. There we go. There we fucking... Raw! That's why we're marketable. That's fucking why we're marketable. People been doubting how marketable we are. Brother. Brother. You ain't even seen anything this marketable before. So if you're not putting up, you better be putting down. Look at that. Look at how fucking marketable we are right now. Oh my. What does it look? Now expand the window. You want it bigger? This? This is about as big as I can get it, I think. If you're suffering from a floppy disk, there are remedies. Thank you. I'm not sure why birds have cloacas. I'm not sure why I would be getting that advertisement, but, you know. Alright, I'm not sure how much I'm going to commentate, but I want to catch it at the end of the major sections, or when I'm not ape. I need to change ape to, Oh, fuck!
The term Jevon's paradox flags the need to consider the different hierarchical scales at which a system under analysis changes its identity in response to an innovation. Accordingly, an analysis of the implications of the Jevon's paradox must abandon the realm of reductionism and deal with the complexity inherent in the issue of sustainability. When studying evolution and real change, how can we define what has to be sustained in a system that continuously becomes something else? In an attempt to address this question, this paper presents 3 theoretical concepts foreign to conventional scientific analysis. I, complex adaptive systems, to address the peculiar characteristics of learning and self-producing systems. U, holons, and holarchy, to explain the implications of the ambiguity found when observing the relation between functional and structural elements across different scales, steady state versus evolution, and 3, Holons' adaptive cycle, to illustrate the existence of different phases in the evolutionary trajectory of a complex adaptive system interacting with its context in which either external or internal constraints can become limiting. These concepts are used to explain systemic drivers of the Jevon's paradox. Looking at society's thermodynamic foundations, sustainability is based on a dynamic balance of two contrasting principles, regulating the evolution of complex adaptive systems, the minimum entropy production and the maximum energy flux. The coexistence of these two principles explains why, in different situations, innovation has to play a different role in the sustainable development of society. When society is not subject to external biophysical constraints. Improvements in efficiency serve to increase the final consumption of society and expand its diversity of functions and structures. 2. When the expansion of society is limited by external constraints, improvements in efficiency can be used to avoid as much as possible the loss of the existing diversity. It is concluded that sustainability cannot be achieved by technological innovations alone, but requires a continuous process of institutional and behavioral adjustment. Introduction. The Jevon's paradox states that, in the long term, an increase in efficiency and resource use will generate an increase in resource consumption rather than a decrease. Understanding the nature of the Jevon's paradox is important in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals, because it challenges the narrative behind
I feel like I did not turn it down.
Striving for improvements in energy efficiency. Indeed, the Jevon's paradox has generated an intense debate in the field of sustainability science, among scientists attempting to prove...
I'm gonna commit a holarchy. I'm gonna commit a holarchy.
The Jevon's paradox is framed in terms of rebound effect and analyzed through conventional economic narrative despite obvious difficulties in its quantification. The problem with the quantification of the rebound effect
right now?
lies in the
I'm so fucking mad.
2.
I don't want to
When the
talk about
expansion
it.
of society is limited by external constraints, improvements in efficiency should be used to avoid as much as possible the loss of the existing diversity. It is concluded that sustainability cannot be achieved by technological innovations alone, but requires a continuous process of institutional and behavioral adjustment.
Fuck me!
Introduction.
Why didn't I use
The
him as a
Jevon's
shield? What is
paradox
going on?
states that,
I
in
saved
the
his
long
life.
term, An increase in efficiency in resource use will generate an increase in resource consumption rather than a decrease. Understanding the nature of the Jevons paradox is important in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals because it challenges the narratives behind sustainable energy policies, striving for improvements in energy efficiency. Indeed, the Jevons paradox has generated an intense debate in the field of sustainability science among scientists attempting to prove or disprove its validity. In the field of economics, the Jevons paradox is framed in terms of rebound effect and analyzed through conventional economic narrative despite obvious difficulties in its quantification. The problem with the quantification of the rebound effect lies in the underlying epistemological conundrum. The investigated system becomes something different after the efficiency improvement has been introduced.
Oh,
indeed,
it's a different system.
A
No rivers are stepped in twice. No rivers are stepped in twice. No rivers are stepped in twice. Affirm. Affirm.
Definition of the relevant attributes describing the performance of the original process. For example, it makes no sense to use the same set of attributes for comparing the performance of 30 horses with that of a 30 horsepower tractor. This is a standard predicament faced in the analysis of evolving systems, such as human society.
Motherfucker.
Therefore, those attempting to quantify the rebound effect face a problem generated by the adoption of a simplistic analytical tool and the choice to remain within the comfort zone of reductionist science. Indeed, the very use of the term rebound effect reflects the implicit adoption of the ceteris paribus hypothesis, i.e., that the...
Hi Marlo, whatever jazz this rhythm game is hitting my insatiable Autis HD sensory input hard. It's kind of going nice, yeah. Soundtrack reminds me of the Wrench and Friends jazz drum track from season 1 of Fargo. I've never watched it. How's it going? We're aping and learning why sustainability is a failure or something, I guess. It's because of Jevons paradox. Who the fuck is Jevon? Why is there a
source
paradox?
Consumption rather than
or
a decrease.
more consumption
Understanding
means more
the
use.
nature
It's
of
like
the Jevons paradox
the more lanes you put on the
in
highway,
relation
the
to
more
sustainable
people are going to use
development
cars.
goals, because it challenges the narratives behind
some
sustainable
bullshit like
energy policies, striving for improvements in energy efficiency. Indeed, the Jevons paradox has generated an intense debate in the field of sustainability science among scientists attempting to prove or disprove its validity. In the field of economics, the Jevons paradox is framed in terms of rebound effect and analyzed through conventional economic narrative despite obvious difficulties in its quantification. The problem with the quantification of the rebound effect lies in the underlying epistemological conundrum. The investigated system becomes something different after the efficiency improvement has been introduced.
Holy, I fucked up.
A change in the identity of a system generating energy services goes hand in hand with a change in definition of the relevant attributes describing the performance of the original process. For example, it makes no sense to use the same set of attributes for comparing the performance of 30 horses with that of a 30 horsepower
YouTube chat is not my
tractor.
favorite child.
This is a standard
My favorite child is
based
Twitch
in the
chat.
analysis of
But
evolving systems,
I still gotta take care
such
of all
as
my
human
children,
society.
You know what I'm saying? We can't be
Therefore,
letting them get
those energy efficiency.
bacterial diseases. Did you deliberately restart this section of narrative? Yeah, I did.
Indeed,
I can't
the Jevons
edit. I've got it on
paradox
my
has
other
generated an
screen.
intense debate in the field of sustainability science among scientists attempting to prove or disprove its validity. In the field of economics, the Jevons paradox is framed in terms of rebound effect and analyzed through conventional economic narrative despite obvious difficulties in its quantification. The problem with the quantification of the rebound effect lies in the underlying epistemological conundrum. The investigated system becomes something different after the efficiency improvement has been introduced.
No need.
Indeed, a change in the identity of a system generating energy services goes hand in hand with a change in the definition of the relevant attributes describing the performance of the original process. For example, it makes no sense to use the same set of attributes for comparing the performance of 30 horses with that of a 30 horsepower tractor. This is a standard predicament based in the analysis of evolving systems,
ankles
such as human
broken.
society. Therefore,
see that
those
fucking
attempting
shot,
to
though?
quantify the rebound effect face a problem generated by the adoption of a simplistic analytical tool and the choice to remain within the comfort zone of reductionist science.
Ape free!
Indeed, the very use of the term rebound effect
Yeah, we're
reflects
good. We're
the
in.
implicit adoption of the ceteris paribus
The
hypothesis.
ceteris
i.e.,
paribus
that the
hypothesis?
original
I know what that
selection of
is.
variables describing what the system is and what it does in relation to the chosen definition of performance remains valid and useful also after the introduced change. Innovation has actually taken place. In this paper, we propose a novel biophysical framework of analysis to deal with phenomena of the Jevons paradox aimed at escaping the pitfalls of reductionism. It explicitly acknowledges structural and functional change, i.e., emergence of new features, in response to evolution, innovation, and the consequent need to update the quantitative representation on the semantic and formal side across different levels of analysis and scales. As Jevon stated in 1865, now, if the quantity of coal used in a blast furnace, for instance, be diminished in comparison with the yield, the profits of the trade will increase, new capital will be attracted, the price of pig iron will fall, but the demand for it increase. And eventually, the greater number of furnaces will more than make up for the diminished consumption of each. And if such is not always the result within a single branch, it must be remembered that the progress of any branch of manufacture excite a new activity in most other branches. The first phrase in italics refers to the structural change, the econ to the functional change taking place at a different, larger level of analysis. Jevons clearly says that a change in efficiency will result in a change in the identity previously assigned to the observed system, and that these changes will take place at different scales. Thus, an improvement in efficiency at a given scale and in relation to a given function can result in the expression of new functions in the system at different levels and scales. This makes it impossible to measure the relative change in performance, before versus after, with a simple analytical model based on a single scale representation of the original set of relevant attributes and indicators. When dealing with the analysis of efficiency improvements, the ceteris paribus assumption is simply untenable. Indeed, the nature of the Jevons paradox can only be understood and represented by introducing new theoretical concepts that capture genuine change. Genuine change is necessarily associated with uncertainty and escapes quantification by conventional scientific analysis, as stated by Frank H. Knight. We do not perceive the present as it is and in its totality, nor do we infer the future from the present with any high degree of dependability, nor yet do we accurately know
its consequences. Yeah, okay. What does Salty Squid have to say? It's the organization of hierarchy into pods. Each individual cell is sufficient, but also a larger organ. Okay, yeah, okay. Is that humans are infinitely complicated and our system will always fail to perfect efficiency. Hierarchy is cringe. No human is above you. Yeah, okay. Nah, hierarchy is cringe. Sorry, Salty Squid. I mean, you know, hierarchies are useful for things like living, right? Maybe that's just me though. Okay. I can hear them gasp. My retort are humans are infinitely complicated, but like humans are still part of the ecosystem. You know, we're still gonna be a thing, and we definitely need to be thinking about some frameworks
of our
which
own
might
actions.
enable us.
We cannot make
fix
models
this,
of
or at
things
least
that do
think
not
about the
yet
world.
exist.
And I think
We can only
thinking
make
about it on multiple levels is
extrapolations
fine.
based on the
Like, okay,
representation of the
take-
present
holy, what are
situation
these lights?
into the future.
Like let's take a look
The
at some of
problem with
the graphs
latter
that they
solution
made. Like you're gonna
is
love
that
it. I put graphs
extrapolations
into
remain
this.
only valid for a limited period, as long as the observed system does not change its
This is
identity.
YouTube.
Therefore, a
This is AI
strategy
yapping.
based on extrapolations cannot capture genuine change. In fact, the validity of extrapolations relies on the assumption that the parameters determining the validity of the model will not change. The Jevons paradox defies exactly this assumption in that an increase in efficiency causes the system to become something else,
Holy.
thus requiring the adoption of different parameters and, in case of extreme changes, even different variables and new functional relations among them. Emergence.
Oh,
More than
what the
4
fuck? How did
decades
I
ago,
miss that?
Georgescu Rogan neatly described this problem with regard to econometric extrapolations. The fact that econometric
Econometric.
models of the
You heard
most
it here
refined
first.
and complex kind have generally failed to fit future data, which means that they failed to be predictive, finds a ready yet self-defeating excuse.
They've
History
got
has
range.
changed the parameters. If
I've
history
gotta
is so
ape 'em.
cunning, why persist in predicting it? Acknowledging that the description of the effects of an increase in efficiency does require a change in the parameters used in the quantitative representation, we also have to recognize that understanding the nature and the implications of the Jevons paradox requires the adoption of new conceptual tools to describe evolutionary changes. In this paper,
Yeah,
we seek to
a lot of
solve the
politics
problem
is,
of how to analyze
sort of
the Jevons
a
paradox,
contest
acknowledging
of
that the innovation
what you
in
think
produce
selection
causes
should be, like
genuine
what
change
sort
of the
things do you
system
think
under
we should be
analysis.
selecting for as a
To this purpose, in the next
human
section,
race, as a
we first
species?
introduce 3 theoretical concepts from outside the realm of reductionist science: complex adaptive systems holons and holarchies, and Holling's adaptive cycle. Building on these concepts, we propose a theoretical
Motherfucker.
framework to explore the Jevons paradox from a biophysical perspective and establish a bridge between the principles of minimum entropy and maximum power. We conclude with a brief discussion of the
flux.
possibility of framing the analysis of the Jevons paradox in relation to the concept of metabolic pattern of societies, using the approach multi-scale integrated analysis of societal and ecosystem metabolism. Define
couldn't just run
reductionism,
at him.
complex adaptive systems. The concept of complex adaptive system is key to our discourse. Complex adaptive systems are 1. Open systems operating under thermodynamic non-equilibrium. capable
Nothing
of
is in
expressing
equilibrium.
specific structural
Everything
and
is
functional
descending into
patterns
chaos.
associated to their identity. 2. Hierarchically organized in nested structures observable across multiple spatial temporal scales. And 3. Reproducing themselves using coded information about their own identity that is adjusted according to the circumstances through a process of evolution. CAS learn in time how to reproduce themselves in a more effective way, depending on both the experience accumulated and perceived changes in boundary conditions. They are therefore continuously becoming something else in time. The concept of complex adaptive systems shatters the Cartesian dream of prediction and control embraced by conventional reductionist science. Reflexive systems, such as human beings and human societies, are a special class of complex adaptive systems. They can model themselves, and in doing so, they can express telos, or purposive behavior, in that they strive for specific results. Indeed, reflexive complex adaptive systems not only act based on what they have learned in the past, but also based on a desired virtual future. This peculiarity has tremendous implications for a proper framing of the role of efficiency in their sustainability. Reflexive complex adaptive systems must find a subtle balance between efficiency, doing better according to what is already known at present, and adaptability, surviving in face of unknown and unexpected changes in boundary conditions on their path toward a desired virtual
makes
future.
the whispers of the
Lack of
pencil
sustainability
disappear.
of reflexive complex adaptive systemsis, therefore not only determined by a shortage of resources, external thermodynamic constraints, but also by an excess of expectations in the system, internal constraints determining what is desirable or unacceptable. This tension is at the core of the Jevons paradox.
Is it?
Meaning of innovation, Holon and hierarchy theory. The concept of Holon, first
Oh, we're
introduced by
Holoning!
Kessler, 1967, provides insight in the functioning of complex adaptive systems. A holon is at the same time a whole made up of smaller parts, e.g., a human being made up of organs, tissues, etc., and a part of some greater whole. An individual human being, part of a family, a community, etc. An
Damn.
appropriate combination of holons organized
Dark Knight
over
Joker
various
memes were
hierarchical
just
levels contributes
memes
to so-called
to ingrain
emergent
holons into
properties,
the
detectable only from
socius.
higher levels of analysis. Such a hierarchy of holons has also been termed holarchy. The The concept
Holarchy.
of Holon was developed in hierarchy theory, a branch of complexity theory, to deal with the epistemological implications of multiple scales. Indeed, the dual nature of Holons explains the systemic ambivalence found in the perception of the elements of complex adaptive systems and the ensuing epistemological predicament for the scientific representation of these systems. Simon, 1962, casts this issue in terms of forced handling of mapping and organized structure.
Holy damage, motherfucker. That's a lot of guns.
At the focal and the lower hierarchical level, we see structural types, how the components of the black box are organized and interacting. On the other hand, at the interface of the focal and the higher hierarchical level, we see functional types, how the black box interacts with its context.
Bruh,
For
what
example,
black box?
The President of the United States is an organized structure, human being, that expresses an expected function defined by the institutional settings of the country.
And
the role of U.S.
The
President.
policy that he ran
Bailey,
on.
1990, proposes a similar concept for the ambiguity in observing social systems using the couplet of terms incumbent and role. In either case, Holons cannot be adequately represented by
society
looking
as
at just
incumbent
one
and
of the
role?
two aspects.
Oh.
The analysis of the two
Politics.
categories of types, structural and functional, making up a holon requires the simultaneous adoption of at least two different scales, because the space-time closure of a holon structure does not coincide with that of its role. To study the structural
I know
type,
exactly
we have
what
to adopt
all
a
this
smaller scale.
Fuck,
the
I'm
internal view,
dead. That's what it means.
In order to see the organized structure inside the black box. How does it work? The what, how question. To study the functional type, we need a larger scale in order to see how the black box relates to its context, the external view. Why is it useful? The what, why question. This is illustrated in Figure 1. A second
that.
epistemological complication
What is this?
resides
The
in
external
that the
view.
identity of a type.
Internal view.
description
No,
of the
God is at the
representation, never
Y.
exactly
God
coincides
is
with
at
its
level
special
N plus 2.
realizations. We recognize and
a holy
characterize
number.
elements of complex adaptive systems on the basis of expected attributes associated to known typologies, such as a liver, a dog, a policy officer, etc. However, we can only observe special instances of these known typologies, such as the liver of patient X, the dog of my neighbor,
me, I
the policy
missed.
officer who finds me. The unique history of any realization makes each instance of a type special. This implies a certain level of variability in the perception of the relevant attributes associated with the type. Thus, there are two ambiguities inherent in the identity of a holon. I, a given holon is at the same time a structural and a functional type, and 2, observations and measurements refer to characteristics of instances of types, not to the attributes of types themselves. In practice, this implies a many-to-one mapping. A functional type maps onto different structural types.
No, I
and an
almost grabbed
instance of
him.
A structural type may map onto different functional types. For example, one same person can be at the same time a policy officer and a father of 2 children, and many persons can
And
become
an
policy
oil
officer
CEO.
or father of 2.
Do you ever think about that?
Another example of this degeneracy
Like,
and
just fuck
possible
the
mapping
revolving
over
door?
types and instances
I mean,
is
that would be
illustrated in
complicated.
Figure 2.
Like,
In the quantitative
the private
categorization of
public
complex
relationship.
adaptive systems, we must always acknowledge that its elements, holons, are I, instances belonging to 2 different categories of type that must be coupled in order to determine simultaneously the what, why, a functional type, and the what, how, a structural type. Who, generated within a multi-scale organized process capable of reproducing instances of these 2 types.
no.
This second condition can only be fulfilled by expressing coordinated agency across different levels,
I don't know how I jumped
inside
across that
and
room.
outside the black box, at different scales. The definition of the what, why entails the identification of relevant attributes of functional types and their behavior. This requires perceptions based on a large-scale view. The definition of the what, how entails the identification of relevant attributes of structural types and their fabrication, and this requires perceptions based on a local scale view. As a result, no special instance of a holon, an individual realization, can be associated with one specific one-to-one mapping between a functional and structural type. Nor does it have characteristics that are exactly predictable from those of known types. These two aspects
semantics
permit
are
the
almost
complex
over.
adaptive system
Please,
to
I'm
evolve
semantics.
and improve in
Enough of it,
time
please.
by creating the possibility of emergence of new functional holons in response to changing boundary
doing it.
conditions.
Fuck, we're not doing it.
Attributes of a
We're
structural
doing a
type
little bit.
irrelevant for a given function may become relevant for a different new function. Hence, due to special circumstances, instances of a structural type originally associated with one function can
Holy
become
fuck, what was
useful,
that?
the structural type, for expressing another function. Examples of this type of emergence are illustrated in Figure 3. The examples in Figure 3 illustrate that it is not necessary to create a new structural type for a new holon to emerge. The establishment of a new meaningful coupling of a structural and functional type is determined by the need for a new function, perceivable only at the larger scale, by the larger whole to which the holon belongs.
Hold on.
A new function can emerge for a given instance of a structural type, even if
Whoa.
not originally designed for the new role. The expression of this new function, if stabilized and recorded in time, will introduce a new functional type in the information space of the complex adaptive system, and eventually define the criteria of performance for reproducing a better structural type to express the new function. In this process of expanding the diversity of functions in the system, the ability of expressing purposes is essential to accelerate the pace of innovations and improvements of a
Yes!
For instance, all the
Knowing
innovations
what it's
illustrated
for,
in Figure
what it
3
can
depend
do,
on
why
the
it
need
might be
felt by the
used.
complex adaptive system to express a new function. When a new functional holon is introduced to achieve new purposes, we deal with innovation by emergence. On the other hand, when we innovate structural types to better express
What the
a given
fuck?
existing function, we deal with innovation by design, e.g., changing the technical coefficients of a local process
by
to improve its
local
performance
reactionary
in relation
groups?
to a known set of indicators.
Thoughts?
Thus, we can state that
In innovation by design, I, the performance associated with the function for which we develop a better design, is already known and justified by the existence of both stable boundary conditions, a stable and controlled context, and a given set of objectives associated with the behavior of the system.
Yeah, ethics. Yep. That's...
The changes refer to the characteristics of a process operating at the local scale. Eventually, this change may be amplified at a larger scale by massive reproduction, but the original change takes place at the local scale. In innovation by emergence, I, the function to be expressed is new and determined by either a change in boundary conditions, the system needs an adjustment because the context is no longer behaving as expected by the information recorded in the system, or a change in purpose. The system wants to express a new function currently unavailable. 2. The changes refer to the characteristics of processes operating at the large scale, either in the context, determining the boundary conditions, or in the higher levels of the system itself, where purposes for lower-level holons are defined.
Fuck!
Eventually, the effects of these large-scale changes are transmitted to events taking place at the local scale.
Bro, vibes disseminate. That's what he's saying.
Studying
At multiple
evolutionary
levels.
patterns.
Not sure why you needed to get a fucking degree.
Holling's idea
to know
of
that.
adaptive cycles, Holling, 1986, is one of the most intriguing narratives proposed
I can
for
use
dealing
the
with the
triggers.
perception and representation of the phenomena of evolution and life.
Fuck.
It addresses the question as to whether it is possible to define an
No.
expected pattern of relations or changes in structural and functional types in the process of evolution. However, because of its
Fucking
metaphorical power
bomb guy.
created by the use of semantic definitions without formalizations, the
How
concept
do you
of adaptive
formalize
cycle
semantic
has also
defamation?
proven to be a
An
difficult
institution. A
notably
semantic
for quantitative
witch
analysis.
club.
A representation of the adaptive cycle, as conceptualized in Holling and Gunderson, 2002, also known as Lazy 8, is shown in Figure 4. In the original
What in the
semantic
hell?
characterization of the adaptive cycle, Holling recognizes 4 element steps based on the metaphor
Potential
of ecosystem
connectedness?
successions and the 4 seasons. Obviously,
Yo, Alpha
being
and
an
Omega,
iterative
yo, that's a
cycle,
Christian
there
reference,
is
by
no
the way.
step that can be
Totally.
labeled as the initial one. as if the succession were described in simple time. We
Fucking
arbitrarily start the description with the step.
Bomb guy.
Holling indicates with the Greek letter alpha. Alpha, reorganization. This step is associated with the rebirth of the
Reorganization
phoenix from the ashes. It is the step in which a new cycle starts
getting
by
laid off
proposing a set of
term.
realization of types expected to perform successfully in a given context. R. Exploitation. This step
Bye,
is
Salty.
associated
Enjoy the
with an
nutcracker.
amplification of the winning solutions,
I'm sure
the
you'll
best
get your
performing
nuts
types,
cracked.
adopted in the given cycle. An example from ecology would be the rapid colonization of a recently disturbed area, in which the most effectively performing species occupy as first the available space and
Oh, fuck.
resources.
I didn't know where I was going.
Conservation. This step concerns the preservation and handling of the existing set of structures and functions at the level of the whole complex. An example is the situation of climax in a mature terrestrial ecosystem. The incoming solar energy, the available inflow of resources,
Middle of the
is
day.
not used to build up additional biomass, but to preserve the already existent diversity of interactions and species. And Omega. Release, or creative destruction.
The release sign!
This
The
step is
sigil of
associated
release!
with the release of the resources.
The game audio is too
used
loud.
so
I thought I
far,
turned it down.
Which leads to a re-evaluation of the existing profile of space and resource allocation to the universe of existing types.
Hello, Mina. Happy Saturday.
This step creates a window of opportunity for the system to reset the existing cycle. Whenever a combination of internal and external changes makes it possible to get out of the lock-in generated by the combination of external and internal constraints to a new definition of reorganization, alpha, based on a different selection of types, including newly emerged ones, and individual realizations.
Fuck.
The different actions and steps of the cycle refer to a complex of interrelated events taking place simultaneously, but at different time scales.
Fuck my
For this
Cartesian
reason,
boys.
The analysis of the cycle
All my homies
requires
hate
the
Cartesian
adoption of the
midwits.
concept of complex time. Indeed, to explain the evolution of a perception or representation of an evolving system, we have to deal with at least 4 relevant time differentials within the adaptive cycle. DT referring to the pace of action inside the chosen representation, the modeled dynamic behavior of individual realizations within each one of the phases. For example, representations of the behavior of instances of organisms or ecosystems. DT referring to the pace
I
of
could go for a
movement from an
monster right
expected
now, you know what
phase
I'm
to
saying?
another,
Maybe
changes
I'll
in the
just have some tea
parameters of the
instead.
model. For example, the pace of change of the expected characteristics of types of organisms or types of ecosystems, moving through transitional trajectories. D theta, referring to the pace of evolution of the identity of the observed system and the definition of its relevant attributes, changes requiring new models. For instance, the evolution of the typologies of organisms or typologies of ecosystems under analysis.
Typology of organisms.
DT referring
whether
to
or
the
not they
time
stop
duration of the
eating one
salience of
another?
the complex observer-observed. The definition of this last time differential requires considering also the observer into the analysis. In fact, the perception/representation of a complex adaptive system can only exist as long as it remains relevant for those perceiving and representing it. Roles and types of innovation in the evolution of complex adaptive systems.
Why did the voice
As early
change?
as 1911, Schumpeter, working on a theory of innovation in the economic process, proposed the idea
Fuck
of
me.
creative destruction. Schumpeter, 1951.
Creative destruction.
Perhaps the
We
most
do
important
not- it is
implications of
not
Schumpeter's
marketable
idea are
to
that we
endorse
should
violence.
bear in mind
Fuck.
that the economic process passes through different phases associated to economic cycles,
bro.
and 2, expect occasional
Oh, you know what I bought? I
large-scale
bought some blue
collapses
wine.
of the economic
bought
system
some
in
spiced
response to
wine.
major changes in boundary conditions or societal expectations that make the existing structural functional complex obsolete, a situation in which the institutions of the economic system require major readjustments. Thus, in order to discuss the role of innovation,
Any
such as an
market
increase in
failure
efficiency,
enjoyers in chat?
we must first of all understand what phase the economic process, in which the innovation is to take place, finds itself in. I. Is the economic system in a phase of expansion, operating under favorable boundary conditions
doing office work
so
right
that
now.
it is possible to continue the strategy that has been successful thus far, doing more of the
Mother.
same. Or, ew, is the strategy
Mother
more of the
fucker.
same,
I
no
can't,
longer effective under present
I
boundary
self-censor
conditions?
so badly.
Are we in a cyclical crisis that requires moving on to the next phase of the same cycle?
But if I
Or
uncensor,
3,
I'm just gonna start calling people
are we
stupid
facing
bitches.
an unavoidable major collapse and reorganization of the system? Do we need to drastically readjust
Crisis theory,
the
crisis
economic
theory, crisis
process
theory, everything is a
because
crisis.
the boundary conditions or the expectations of society no longer match those that generated the present institutions regulating the economy? Accepting that it may be wise, or at least prudent, to contextualize the role of innovation within an analysis of evolutionary cycles, we have to acknowledge that 1. The term innovation may have different meanings in different contexts. And
No
2.
intersectionality.
Different types of innovations are needed in different phases of the economic process. Schumpeter's vision of innovation within the evolutionary pattern of the economic process anticipated biologist Richard Goldschmidt's idea of the hopeful monster, Goldschmidt, 1933,
The
and is
hopeful
perfectly
monster?
consistent with the punctuated equilibrium theory of Gould and Eldridge, 1977, in evolutionary biology.
Yeah, the
These theories share 2 main points. I. Changes take place at different scales. Local changes are scaled up, thus affecting patterns of large-scale processes. Entrepreneurs introduce new products that change the entire economy. New populations appear through speciation and affect the existing ecosystem. And 2, the pace of evolutionary change is not constant in time. Long periods of small and smooth adjustments are interrupted by rapid bursts of profound change, collapse, associated with changing boundary conditions. The occurrence of a large-scale collapse of the organizational network of the complex adaptive system then translates into a top-down push for restructuring activities at the lower local levels. In relation to these questions, we can reinterpret Holons' original adaptive cycle by looking at the different roles that innovation plays in its different phases. This rearranged version of the cycle is illustrated in Figure 5.
We're in.
Note that the 4 phases of the cycle, alpha, R, K,
no.
J, illustrated in Figure 4,
I
have
was
been rotated
there.
in Figure 5 to
That's a
organize
cool
the
figure.
information
Look at that
space
shit.
along 2 axes, types versus instances, upper versus lower row. Notional definitions provided on the basis of direct information, genes used to make organisms, and mutual information, niches and communities, are in the upper row. Definition of instances of biophysical processes, organisms and ecosystems, are in the lower row. Local scale perceptions versus large scale perceptions, left versus right column. Patterns expressed at the local scale, niches and organisms, are in the left column. Patterns expressed at the large
We're the
scale,
enemies.
communities and ecosystems, in the right column. Below, we describe 3 trajectories, cycles, of innovation using the scheme presented in Figure 5. A system in quasi-steady state, 1 to 2, stable to 4 to 1. In a situation of quasi-steady state, the information recorded in the system, in the form of blueprints, know-how, and
Leftists be
narratives
like,
at the local
I
scale
can't
and in the
let
form
the
of
map
socio-economic
and the
institutions at the
territory
large scale,
intertwine.
permits the reproduction of the integrated set of economic or ecological processes across different scales. The effective coupling of instances of Holons makes it possible to reproduce the parts at the local scale, 1 to 2, e.g., representing the economic viability of both entrepreneurs and households. In this case, the process of self-reproduction remains more or less faithful to the original set of functional Holons. Only small innovations by design take place. 2, stable. 4, aimed at and introducing minor adjustments at the local scale. The network of interactions is compatible with the viability of Holons at the local scale and the feasibility of large-scale processes in relation to boundary conditions at the large scale. A system in transitional state, innovation by creative destruction, 1 to 2, booming, to 3 to 4 to 1. When the emergence of a novelty provides a major comparative advantage, The associated Holon is amplified both in terms of recorded information and biophysical activity, arrow 3, through autocatalytic loops. Doing more of the same provide comparative advantage.
Let's fucking go.
The more the information and activity associated with the Holon expand, the more the rest of the system is forced to follow along.
It's crazy how
this
well
happened in
Borat
U.S.
1 has
agriculture
aged.
when tractors replaced horses.
And a little
As a result,
scary
also
as
other
well,
Holons are forced
in
to
all
innovate
honesty.
to adjust to the new sheriff in town by either eliminating the obsolete structural types or reusing them to express new functions. When this event takes place in a situation in which there is room for expansion, the whole system will be pushed to grow as much and as fast as possible using the edge given by the new solutions. In the 1940s, abundant oil in the USA provided favorable boundary conditions at the large scale to expand the use of thermal engines in substitution of animal power. In fact, the speed of takeover by innovative Holons is a key factor here. If they are able to push and shape the innovation of the others, they will set the identity of the new institutional settings emerging at the large scale, biasing them in their favor. In theoretical ecology, this phenomenon is called the survival of the first. After the Industrial Revolution, late 20th century, the combination of abundant, cheap fossil energy, oil, resources, technology, and information, a compact technological package of Western civilization,
I require money to jump out the
generated an
window.
unprecedented expansion of human activity worldwide. According to theoretical ecology, this explosion of economic growth, colonization phase, due to creative destruction of the previous institutional order, sooner or later will move to the next phase of conservation. Considering the biophysical roots of the economic process, we may expect that exponential growth will sooner or later face external constraints generated by the instability of boundary conditions. A famous line of economist Kenneth Boulding, anyone who believes that exponential growth can go on forever in a finite world is either a madman or an economist. Bluntly makes this point. The phase of conservation will eventually bring the system back in a quasi-steady state, a system in senescence, ready for a new transition. In the phase of conservation, the system increases interactions, regulations, and mutual dependency among the various Holons within its hierarchical organization. This improves its efficiency and resource use, but it also makes the system more subject to the impact of external limits. A very efficient system is fragile and brittle in case of changing boundary conditions and/or societal aspirations. Giampietro and Mayumi, 2008.
They shot each other.
In such a situation, it is difficult to realize significant changes in the internal organization. The various technological systems and institutional settings are fully locked in, and it becomes increasingly difficult to react to large-scale changes in boundary conditions or changing definitions of desirability. In the long period, this situation moves the system in a state of senescence, in which the Holons have less strength, 1 to 2, dying, and the holarchy to which they belong becomes weaker. This state of senescence allows the occurrence of destructive innovation by emergence, the start of a new cycle of innovation by creative destruction.
You hear them
In this case, a
right?
local instability triggered by an emergent Holon capable of eliminating
I
obsolete
don't even know what a Holon
competitors
is. It sounds
will be amplified to a
vaguely
scale that
dirty.
can trigger a collapse, and then a radical resetting of the structural and functional organization of the whole socioeconomic system.
They run. These cowards.
Building on these premises, different meanings and effects of innovation can be defined. Innovations in the phase of colonization. In the phase of colonization, the key to success is the ability to identifying gradients of yet unexploited resources for fast exploitation. This is a bottom-up process in which individual Holons try to impose their values, perspectives, and preferences on others and the environment. In this phase, it is important to have an edge over the competition. Innovation in this phase tends to focus on solving one problem at a time. Silver bullet approach to eliminate bottlenecks by generating better structural types inside the system for an already defined goal, e.g., achieving better technical coefficients to establish more effective processes. After having individuated, at the local scale, winning criteria, the system looks for innovations, obtained by design, for doing more of the same, but better. Scaling up local winning patterns makes it possible for the complex adaptive
This
system
is
to
so
track
much
and
better than
use new available
incrementalism.
resources. The diagonal labeled 3 in Figure 5, from alpha to R, describes a bottom-up driver, upward causation. Innovations
See ya.
in the phase of conservation. In the phase of conservation, the system focuses on building better relationships among its components and with its context. This includes identifying the external limits imposed on the expansion of large-scale patterns and transmitting this information to Holons operating at lower levels at the local scale. The identification of external limits is translated in the identification of
There's a
resources to be
sniper.
conserved as much as possible inside the system
Fuck.
by a collaboration of lower-level Holons. This phase deals with a mix of upward and downward causation, in which it is essential to consider both
New Taoist
I,
circle just dropped.
values, perspectives, and preferences of the Holons
Wake up.
operating within the system at lower level, and C2, the identity of ecological processes determining the existence of favorable boundary conditions for the whole system. In this phase, it is important to establish cooperative relations at different scales. Inside the system among Holons, and outside the system with other complex adaptive systems. This phenomenon has been called the drive toward double asymmetry, or equipollence. Therefore, innovation tends to focus on improving the definition of functions in terms of regulations and institutions, e.g., more effective behaviors and better controls, rather than exploiting more resources. The diagonal labeled 4 in Figure 5, from K to omega E, describes such a top-down driver, downward causation. Also in this case, innovations are by design. However, the objective is no longer rapidly expanding a local pattern, upward causation, aimed at consuming more resources in order to express more activity, expanding the diversity of functions and structures, but rather integrating the different patterns across scales, sharing the stress among levels. Integration
gotta-
of downward and
gotta
upward
cooperate.
causation,
Yep,
from
yep.
an innovation based on
Gotta be
changing
kind.
technology to an
Do the
innovation
Justin
based
Bieber,
on
be
changing
nice.
behavior. Innovation through catastrophic readjustment. Innovation by creative destruction refers to a dramatic reshuffling of the activities
Yeah,
taking
move
place
fast
in a
and break
complex
things.
adaptive system, e.g. the socio-economic systems, simultaneously both at the local and large scale. Innovation here means going for something completely different, which cannot be known at the moment of the change.
Bro,
This type
where
of
am I
innovation
going?
cannot be planned.
Is this not in my way?
It requires a timely combination of A, major change in the identities of the set of Holons operating at the local scale, and B, a radical restructuring of institutional settings
can keep
operating at the
pushing him.
large scale. This event of emergence of a totally different pattern of self-reproduction of human
Yo.
society may take place when the boundary conditions of the system no longer guarantee the reproduction of both the institutions, large scale, and the functional Holons, local scale. Put in another way, popular disaffection with the existing living conditions and socio-economic identity may cause a collapse of social fabric, leading to an implosion of the system, e.g.,
That
a
would be
political
disastrous.
revolution or collapse of a civilization. This overview
We
suggests
must
that at
secure
present,
a
different
future
countries
for
are
the
operating
material
in different
conditions of a
evolutionary
revolution.
contexts. Most developed countries have come to realize that their evolution is limited by external constraints, and that they ought to move as quickly as possible into the phase of conservation to not get caught into the attractor of release.
Release.
Nevertheless, in many cases, cultural lock-in, heritage of the phase of
let's
colonization,
go.
makes it hard to
We did
change
it.
the perception of the role of
Let's
innovation,
fucking go.
that of boosting
We're
economic
aping.
growth or doing more of the same. On the other hand, many developing countries, due to their delayed position in the evolutionary cycle, still perceive innovation as the required solution to expand the diversity of functions and structures of their economies through further economic growth. yin-yang tension between minimum entropy,
Dialectics.
production,
Yo.
and maximum energy
Dialectics
flux.
mentioned. Oh, but
The
it's imminent
representation
critique.
of the energy
Wait. Shut the
metabolism of
fuck
a
up.
complex adaptive system comprises a set of energy transformations across different energy forms. As seen before with the Holon, the system can be described from an outside or an inside perspective. The outside view describes the interaction of the system, black box, with the context. In the case of the energy metabolism of modern society, this concerns the characterization of
How did that
primary
go
energy
off?
sources, such as coal, oil,
Brother, what?
wind,
You just
solar
exploded my
radiation,
hands.
or biomass. The inside view
Oil.
describes the functioning of the parts inside the system and concerns the characterization of energy carriers, such as electricity and fuels. This distinction is relevant with regard to the principles of minimum entropy production and maximum energy flux. As explained below, these principles were proposed by different authors in relation to the analysis of the evolution of complex adaptive systems. Although the two principles may seem to provide contrasting explanations of the thermodynamic drivers of evolution, there is no incongruity among them. The apparent contradiction simply reflects two different interpretations of the concept of efficiency for the metabolism of complex adaptive systems operating away from thermodynamic equilibrium, the inside and the outside view. Kawamiya's work is helpful in defining these two types of efficiency in physical terms. 1. Efficiency of type 1, EFT1, refers to energy transformations associated with defined processes taking place within the system, inside the black box, and measures the ratio between output and input. A major problem with this definition of output/input efficiency lies in that it ignores the time required to generate output. The power level at which the process is operating is not considered relevant. 2. Efficiency of type 2, EFT2, refers to energy transformations determining the pace of generation of an output per unit of time associated with the interaction of the system, black box, with its environment. The problem with this definition is that it considers only the power level and ignores the amount of energy input required by the process to produce the output. The quantity of input required to operate the process is not considered relevant. Returning to the two thermodynamic principles, a maximum in EFT1 defines the minimum energy throughput required by the system to realize a particular structure/function in society. The concept of EFT1 has been formalized by Prigogine in relation to the analysis of energy dissipating systems under the term minimum entropy production principle, even though it should be considered a phenomenological principle rather than a physical law. It is important to observe that, even if developed within the field of non-equilibrium thermodynamics, the validity of this principle is based on the assumption that the system under analysis is stable and approaching steady state. This means that the pattern of dissipation associated with the particular choice of variables and equations used in the model must occur sufficiently close to equilibrium to guarantee that the chosen formalization remains reliable in time. For living systems interacting with a challenging environment, the minimization of the flow of energy throughput by reducing the input required to obtain the same output can reduce the option space of behaviors. Such limit in the diversity of behaviors can become a liability when boundary conditions change, or for a society willing to improve its living standards by expanding its set of functions. Expanding the ability to produce more in order to consume more, maximizing the energy flux, is a common attractor for socioeconomic systems. This explains why in both economic and biophysical analyses, the idea that the maximization of EFT2 drives evolution has always been very popular. The principle of maximum energy flux in economics has been formalized in terms of the maximization of profit and welfare. In ecological theory, the metaphor of maximization of EFT2 has been formalized in terms of the maximization of energy flows within ecosystems. Indeed, Libcuck's maximum energy flux principle has been proposed under a series of different names by other authors. Evolution through Malthusian instability, maximum exergy degradation, or maximum power principle. Thus, the two concepts refer to two different perceptions of change and evolution. 1. At lower hierarchical levels, adopting a quasi-steady-state view of the system, we deal with dissipative components of complex adaptive systems operating under a strict set of constraints within stable boundary conditions, e.g., cells within an organism or firms in a stable socioeconomic context.
Oh, you need to kill
Under
everybody.
these conditions, system performance is well defined, and it is reasonable to assume a steady trend of learning new ways of reducing the required energy and matter input for sustaining a given function.
The floor needs more blood.
An increase in performance of the given function can therefore be measured using type 1 efficiency. In this situation, the minimum entropy production principle is more relevant for the analysis than the maximum energy flux principle. 2. At the level of the whole complex adaptive system, it is reasonable to expect that it will express as many functions as possible in order to enhance its chances of survival and well-being in its interaction with the context. In this situation, when perceiving the performance of the system at a large scale, the resulting systemic uncertainty calls for the development of adaptability. At this level, system performance can only be improved by increasing the option space of behaviors. The larger is the diversity, the better. In this perception, the maximum energy flux principle is more relevant in the analysis than the minimum entropy production. In conclusion, the principles of minimum entropy production and maximum energy flux are not exclusive of or in contrast with each other. They operate simultaneously on different hierarchical scales as long as the favorable boundary conditions and the definition of goals for the system as a whole are maintained. The final outcome is a better integration of the complex adaptive system with its context in the process of evolution because of the continuous diversification of functions expressed. For example, in household economy, we see that by increasing the efficiency of monetary expenditure inside the household, minimum entropy principle, the money
so
saved in
unfortunate.
daily household routines can be spent into the expression of more different social interactions, maximum energy flux. The two principles, and the two efficiencies defined by Kawamiya, also explain the rapid takeover of engine horsepower on animal horsepower. In fact,
That's why
the
Nietzsche
use of
was crying, by
tractors
the
in
way.
agriculture not only makes it
Real,
possible
by the
to
way.
easily harness hundreds
Truth
of
nuke.
horsepower at the local scale, achieving a much higher EFT2, but
He
also
saw the writing
reduces
on
the
the wall.
consumption of energy
He saw
input to
the
generate this
dramatization of
power.
humanity.
Much higher EFT1, Giampietro et al., 2013. Indeed, whereas 100 horses used once a year for harvesting need to be fed for their entire lifetime, consuming also when the peak of power demand is over, the 100 horsepower tractor does not consume gasoline when switched off. The Jevons paradox in relation to the energy metabolism of society. The concepts derived from complex system thinking discussed in the previous sections not only provide useful insights in the understanding of the nature of the Jevons paradox, but also help explain the impasse faced in trying to quantify the rebound effect. According to the
rebound
law
effect?
of requisite variety, Ashby, 1956, if one wants to characterize, monitor, and control the behavior of a system, one first of all has to be able to identify the relevant features to be characterized, monitored, and controlled for achieving the expected goals. The more the system is complex, the more the characterization will be complex too. Sustainability of complex metabolic systems, such as modern economies, requires policies aimed at the expression of an integrated set of functions, guaranteeing, in the long term, the maintenance and reproduction of their structural components across different levels of organization. Considering this goal, it is unlikely that we can develop effective policies by relying on
I was just
simplistic
gonna get
systems
him.
of monitoring and control based on the analysis of a simple relation between an output and an input, such as the rebound effect. The use of an input-output ratio as
Yeah,
indicator
like
of
increasing
efficiency
minimum wage doesn't really
calculated
mean
at
much
a given
if
scale
inflation
and without proper
also
contextualization
increases by
does
like
not
20%.
provide useful
Like, these are
information
entities
for
that
policy.
always need to be in relationship.
Analyzing
to
the
flows coming
link
in,
between
flows coming
innovation,
out.
efficiency, and
the current
sustainability
political
from a
structure
complex
in
system
America has
perspective,
been designed
we
in such a
obtain
way
two
that
clear
you have
lessons
the
for
flows
quantitative
in
analysis.
necessary to be sufficient for
1.
your daily life.
Move
Maybe
away
a little
from a
bit of,
mono-scale, mono-dimensional quantitative
comfortability,
analysis of efficiency
and then
toward a multi-scale, multidimensional quantitative analysis
I lost
of
my train of thought a little
performance. 2. Move away
'Cause I
from
died.
predicative
It's unfortunate.
representations
I can't
based
get
on
past this,
deterministic results
floor.
uncontested in relation to both the definitions and the assumptions used in the models, toward impredicative representations. Impredicativity
No,
is a
this
standard
is just
predicament
straight
faced
facts.
in the study
I'm
of
sorry.
autopoietic systems, a class of
You've been
systems
only
capable
getting
of producing
straight facts on
themselves.
the marketable stream right
Giampietro, in Press. With relational analysis, one can generate impredicative, contingent
That's AI, by the way.
representations of the expected relations among the characteristics of structural and functional elements operating in the autopoietic process. However, because it is impossible to provide a unique or deterministic representation of causality for these systems, chicken-egg paradox, the resulting representation will
Oddest
necessarily
little
be
drop.
pluralistic. Giampietro, in Press. The authors have
Be
developed a more
pluralistic,
complex
okay.
method of analysis based on the rationale of bioeconomics proposed by Georgescu Rogan. Multi-scale integrated analysis of societal and ecosystem metabolism. It is a semantically open system of accounting based on grammars after Chomsky's ideas. It has been proposed in
Recently
conceptual
featured in
terms and
Epstein's Mansion,
tested
but we
in
have known
quantitative
that for the
application.
past month.
Recently, multi-scale
We knew
integrated
Chomsky was
analysis
there,
of
we knew
societal and
Stephen Hawking was
ecosystem
there, we
metabolism
knew
has
Bill
been
Clinton was
improved
there.
by incorporating principles of relational system analysis
They're
and
all
applied to
very
energy
good friends,
efficiency.
those New York
The proposed
Democrats
quantitative
and
method of
Republicans.
analysis makes it possible
and
to
mob.
assess the feasibility, viability, and desirability of a given metabolic pattern of society by answering the following questions. What is the set of functions expressed by society, and what organized structures does this require? What are the expected characteristics of structural functional compartments, Holons generating the metabolic pattern at the local scale? How to study the impredicative set of relations over the metabolic characteristics of compartments in charge of
Translate this
expressing
into
these
every
functions
language,
over different
insert it into
hierarchical
every
levels.
human's skull
What are
when
the
they're
external
born.
constraints faced by society in relation to its internal consumption? How can changes in technology or behavior be used to deal with the implications of external
50
biophysical
hours
limits?
of
What are the
learning
relative
bed with
priorities
this
that must be given to the various functions in case resource
audiobook.
shortage should require our adjustment of the metabolic pattern?
Maybe a little bit of reverb,
In
right?
particular, what is the minimum value for the metabolic speed of the elements within the socio-economic system that must be guaranteed to avoid the collapse of the social fabric? These questions require the integration of non-equivalent representation of the metabolic process, combining assessments based on both extensive size and intensive variables flow per unit of size to establish bridges across different hierarchical levels. They cannot be addressed with the simplistic representations typical of reductionism.
Conclusions.
Jevon's paradox requires us to consider different hierarchical scales at which the system under analysis changes its identity in response to an innovation. For this reason, if we want to consider
Innovation
several
or just
relevant
new
scales
entity
simultaneously,
integrated
steady
into the
state
assembly,
versus evolutionary
which is
view,
like sort of
it
why
is impossible
even
to
the
assess,
assimilationist
in
position
quantitative
on
terms,
immigration
the
is
rebound
likely
effect.
better because
In
the honest
fact,
to God truth
an
is that
increase in energy
every time
efficiency
that
has
you
exactly
have
the
somebody
effect
new
of
immigrate into
changing,
the country, you are
one,
changing the
what
fabric
the
of it.
system is, two,
But,
what
you
it
just wanna
does,
make sure that
and
it's
consequently,
relative to the
three,
same
the
principles.
relevance of the
Same
attributes of performance used by the
Oy,
modeler
fuck.
to study a given transformation. The combination of these changes requires a systemic adjustment update of the set of proxy variables, parameters, and indicators of performance used in the model. The framing of the Jevons paradox in terms of complex system thinking flags the limited usefulness of the concept of energy efficiency as an indicator of sustainability. Any assessment of efficiency refers to an output/input ratio. It is by default an intensive variable, an achievement of a task per unit of input of energy carrier. Such
Mine is
indicator
not.
ignores not only the overall size of the flow, an essential piece of information to address the issue of external constraints, but also the time dimension, an essential piece of information to check the viability of specific end uses. Hence, it misses the implications of the minimum entropy and the maximum flux
I'm so
principles.
close.
As a result, it also completely overlooks the definition of desirability of the end use in question. A second problem with indicators based on efficiency lies in the total lack of contextualization of the assessment. By default, complex adaptive systems have an evolutionary drive, and this implies that they pass through evolutionary cycles.
They have a replicative.
In order to
drive.
study and discuss
I
the
mean, it's a little
implications of
disappointing
the
he doesn't
Jevons
talk about
paradox
the
and the link
history
between
of
innovation,
evolution right
efficiency,
now,
and
at least the grand theory
sustainability,
of evolution,
it is essential to adopt
which
a more
involves the
sophisticated
molecular
quantitative
reconstruction
analysis of the energetic metabolic pattern of
nucleic
modern
acids,
society, capable of
response to environment,
contextualizing
able
the
to
evolutionary
reproduce.
phase
I
in
fell
which the
out.
society is operating. During a phase of economic expansion, upward causation, the insurgence of the Jevons paradox is practically inevitable. Whether it is because of an uneven distribution of wealth or a strong aspiration for a higher material standard of living, it is unlikely that an energy surplus generated by an increase in efficiency will not be consumed by a society to fix a problem or improve living conditions. During phases
seems
in which
unlikely.
society is
Well,
limited by
okay,
external
then let's
constraints,
get it going.
downward
It's a
causation,
no-brainer?
e.g. in case of a deterioration of the quality of primary sources,
The numbers say it's
peak
a
oil,
no-brainer.
peak water, peak soil, we may expect a reduced supply of energy carriers for final end uses. External limits translate into an increase in the share of energy carriers used for the exploitation of primary sources. In this situation,
So like nuclear waste.
improvements in efficiency are required to offset the severity of external constraints on society rather than to increase final consumption. Then, the implications of the Jevons paradox will be different. Society will have to negotiate new definitions of desirability through cultural and political adjustments, a new acceptable standard of living. In this case, improvements in
There's
energy
3
efficiency
of them.
may be used to generate surpluses to explore alternative sets of behaviors more compatible with new boundary conditions. In conclusion, the Jevons paradox entails that sustainability problems cannot be solved by technological innovations alone. They must be solved through institutional and behavioral changes.
Yo, this is what Elon Musk was on fucking Twitter yapping about, right? Like, just a couple of fucking days ago? He was like, oh, poverty is a engineering solution. Okay, well, we talked to the experts. The experts drew us a couple of very nice graphs that involve the flow of materials and the expansion of flux through the environment over time versus less. And also we need to think about why we've got these structures. Yes, VLC. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with VLC? You got a problem? You got a problem, meters? Hmm? I'm aping out right now. You don't want to get on my bad side. I'm done with the baby. I'm handling whole mercenary groups. I'm almost there. I'm 1 HP. See you later, bud. I know. I'm finishing the level. Oh. Crush his head against the wall. Can you not see anything? Checking OBS. Oh, you can't see anything. It's gone. It's gone. Oh, the fucking pencil is back. I did a level. And chat wasn't there to see it. Brutal. Wait, have I been here? Oh, that's a civilian. Oh. Come here. How? Where did he get it from? No, do I have to go back to 7? I'm at 8 now. Fuck. You're kidding me. How do I heal? Okay, so Jevon's paradox. What the fuck? This is floor 1. Wait, I'm at the bottom. What's going on with Jevon's paradox? We gotta look at the Wikipedia page, I guess. I don't know. Maybe chat gets it. They absorb some information. Nah, I was aping out. I wish I could eat the people. Can I eat the people? Can you... I'm not sure if that healed me. This is not... Oh, this is 3. You got a long shot on me. Ape out. What? That's the way up? See you later, idiot. We're out. Wait, there's blood here already. Fuck, no, this is the last room. Come here! You're gonna fight on my fucking paperwork! Okay, run. No! They can see me! That's a huge room. They've got a longer range than I. Oh. Okay, I'm ready. This is a good start. I think I need to use their arms more. I can throw their arms. Fuck. I missed. Alright, hold on. We got some more marketable contents. Hold on, where's the thing? I wanted to watch. Oh, why is everything bad? What's going on? Why is everything bad? Why can't we build beautiful things anymore? How did the world get ugly? Yeah, this video. Hold on. That's what we're gonna watch now. Let me get it set up really quickly. Give me a moment. Do a roll? I can't roll. I can't like roll over. I only roll over for treats, so how about you work that out first? Window capture. Where is... How did the world... Here we go. And then we're going to bring that down. Put that behind me. We're going to make it small. It's maybe a little wide. There we go. Why is everything ugly? Let's figure it out. Is this sunk? No, it's a guy.
I'm by the River Thames in London.
Ah, motherfucker.
Now, it's a charming place where tourists love to come. But why do they love
We're
to come?
tourists.
Well, you've got views of iconic buildings like the Houses of Parliament and St Paul's Cathedral, but that's not all. Have a look at this. It's a typical modern lamppost. Do you
The
like
fluorescent lights, the frequencies.
Well, it does its job, but not much else.
And what's that job?
But look over here.
Brainwashing the
at
masses?
Another lamppost. It does its job and a little bit more. It's
Yeah.
details like these that help make this such
Oh, no, it
a
looks
charming
nice.
place to be. But
Hurrah, how can they
these
shoot
two
over the
lampposts
tables?
don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews. If you want to understand any society, don't listen to what it says about itself. Look
We're
at
out.
what it creates. London's little lanes are charming now, but
Can America
150
not,
years
can
ago, in
America
places
not
like
create
this,
like
you'd have
coherent
had whole
political
families
content like this
crammed into
anymore?
these tiny rooms without running water. There'd have been open cesspits spilling down the streets, and the stench of sewage boiling in the midday sun would have been unbearable. The whole city stank. It wasn't only horrible to live in, but genuinely dangerous. See,
What the fuck?
at that point, London had a problem. It was the world's biggest city. Its population was growing every year, along with the construction of new factories and mills and dockyards. All those people and all that industry produced a lot of waste. It had to go somewhere. Where did it go? Into the Thames. Something had to be done. And it was an engineer called Joseph Bazalgette who stepped in to construct London's new sewer network in the 19th century. Sewers which still carry London's weight today, rushing beneath me at this very moment. And he also constructed this embankment that I'm standing on to replace what was essentially a stinking swamp filled with rubbish and human waste and eels. It's impossible to calculate how many lives he saved, how many millions of lives he
what?
improved. And he's commemorated here at a
barrel's
memorial that
exploding
no one
to
ever
fire.
stops to look at.
Oh, boo-hoo, why don't the trains
When
run on
Bazalgette's
time?
embankment
Wah,
was
wah,
completed
wah. I'm not
in
making
1870,
affordances for
it needed
neoliberal
lighting,
deregulation
So a
cuts.
public competition was held to design the lamps that would light this new promenade. This was the winning design featuring these peculiar creatures. It's a little much, perhaps, but what's clear is
No.
that Victorians took great pride in their embankment and thought it needed appropriately grand and dramatic decoration. See, these
My God,
lamps
if we're going to do
were
it
among the
right,
first
we're
public
going to
electric
go out with a
lighting
bang.
in the world.
I'm sure that's the Victorian
This
accent.
was a radical,
Perfectly coherent
revolutionary new
accent.
technology. Crowds literally gathered to watch them be lit up for the first time. What the iPhone was in 2007, these lamps were in 1870. But looking at it now, you wouldn't know that.
Yo, wait. The entire, like,
Those lamps
what is it?
don't look modern to us now.
Complex theory of, you know,
look-
lows
wait.
and inputs and
Why?
outputs. Literally, you
Why?
just get that if you watch, like, Nausicaa when you're young.
Because they are decorated. And we don't associate decoration with cutting-edge technology. And that's a major difference between us and the Victorians in the 19th century. They saw no contradiction between startling modernity and time-honored tradition. just like this building, the legendary Houses of Parliament. It was brand new once, but even then, it had been designed in an old and medieval style of architecture. Every technology becomes obsolete and outdated. But
No.
a good aesthetic, even if fashions change, can never become obsolete. It is
We just need good
definitionally
aesthetics.
timeless.
Like nature.
Those
Nature is good
lamps
aesthetics.
on the
Alright, I couldn't
did their
agree
job.
more.
And even though more efficient,
looks
and
nice.
better methods of lighting have been invented, they remain 150 years later. That's the power of good design. And it applies to lampposts, no less
Yeah,
than
but why
to
is it good
national
design?
parliaments.
Because it respects progress and tradition, that's it? You blame the Romans for, Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have holy monkey on fire coming at you. Yeah, if it weren't for the Romans, we wouldn't have the Brits, and we wouldn't have London, so it probably is, like, entirely their fault.
And so here, in
Man,
the
Marcus.
Houses of Parliament, everything we've been talking about comes together at last. Except that this is not the Houses of Parliament. It's an old sewage facility, a pumping station built in the 19th century as part of Bazalgette's new sewer system. Strange to think that this is infrastructure, a purely functional building with the sole purpose of managing human waste. And yet, it has been designed with the same ornamental exuberance
Yeah, but it doesn't
as
look
any
like they're
church,
using it anymore.
palace.
So why do they
What?
make it that nice?
Well, people worked here. And why shouldn't people who work in sewers also have a beautiful place of work? That is how the Victorians thought. But there's more.
Are these the people who are shoving
was
shit,
also
or the people who are
of pride.
writing papers?
A
What's
belief
going on?
that
Let's
what
be
they've done
honest.
here was worthwhile, that it meant something. And the result, over a century later, is that this place, a sewage facility, is now a museum, a tourist destination.
Okay, it's a museum.
If you want to know what any society really believes in,
Look at
just
what
look
they
at how they
build.
design their sewers.
Fuck.
Just a few steps from the old 19th century
This is a cool map.
Victorian pumping station, which
Okay,
is
I can go like,
now
pretty
been
much straight
decommissioned,
across.
is the one built to replace it,
Bro, that looks aesthetic.
not
What are you
bad.
talking about?
I suppose. But it was very clearly not built.
No, I
for
feel
the
like
same
no.
society.
This is a place
Or
that
at least
looks like
not
it's
by
made to
society
function as a
with the
water
same
plant, and the
views
place that you
about
were in
architecture
formerly
and
looks like a
design.
place made to function as
Will this
a bureaucrat,
original
a place to
be turned into a
house a
museum?
bureaucracy, and like maps of the city.
In any case,
And maps
I
of
imagine
sewers.
that it is more functional and that it was more convenient to build and to design. Convenient. Now that's an important word.
Yeah, 7-Eleven. We get it.
Look at this air conditioning unit. I think it says more about the modern world than anything else, more than phones or social media. It's a miraculous technology, one that has
Yeah,
changed the world
refrigeration
and
is
improved
cool.
billions of lives. Hence, we
We
stick
did it.
them literally everywhere. But it's ugly. Ugly because it doesn't seem to express any belief in the idea that ordinary things can also be beautiful. But worse than ugly, it's boring. Now, it would certainly be a bit more expensive
It's
to make it pretty.
boring.
Take
Bro,
on
what are you, a
time
fucking
and care
child?
and attention.
What do you mean when is the
But
game over? I don't know.
These days,
There's a hard
it seems
mode.
that
I'm
we
in
would
like
rather make more money
the even
to
harder
make
mode.
things look pretty.
What do you mean when is the
And
game over?
maybe
You're never
that's
done
okay.
learning.
So you can see, I hope,
Game
that
is over
through
when you
something
die.
as
When you
simple
keel
as
over.
those lampposts, you can understand the Victorians
Macabre.
in their
Get your
entirety.
macabre bullshit out of here.
They didn't have
Although
to
the
make it look
Victorians
like
were
that,
very macabre.
but they did. Now, you might not think it's
Yo, this
beautiful.
guy, he...
I don't think it was supposed to be beautiful.
I'm
It
out.
was just supposed to be
I'm in the trees.
pretty,
Are these
at
hikers?
least interesting,
He has a flamethrower.
at least not boring.
They've got flamethrower bodies.
in
Are they
itself
carrying? What the fuck is
says an
this?
awful lot.
What in the hell? He does have a flamethrower. What is this?
Walking around a city.
I'm so close to escaping. Look at
looking at its
that.
buildings and its infrastructure.
I've already escaped a couple of things.
You're not just looking at objects. You're looking at religions and principles, beliefs.
Yeah, okay.
and
This
These
what? This is just like
buildings, they don't just look
the
different.
idea, like
They
the new
represent
fad of like
fundamentally different
geographies
worldviews,
in philosophy.
clashing ideas
Like
about how
all
we should all
philosophies
think,
are
live,
grounded in
and
people
behave.
and places.
And those
Cultural
skyscrapers
geographies.
say the same thing
Yeah.
as our air conditioning units
Yeah.
and sewage plants. That we have become a society
Never.
of convenience above all else.
Yep, and then why is that bad, she, han, queer-key? Why is that bad? Why don't we like convenience? You wanna explain that?
But there's
I mean,
something
just
else
besides it's
that
ugly.
we haven't mentioned
I mean,
about
fine.
these lampposts. It would be easy to believe that they were made by artists and that we somehow wouldn't be able to or couldn't afford to make them anymore. But just like our modern lampposts, our air conditioning units, our everything, these were also mass-produced, made in a factory.
Mass production! I love mass
It's
production!
still
But I would
mass-produced
never,
lamps,
ever be
just like
anti-Semitic.
these, if we wanted to. We can make our offices and our warehouses look like cross-nest pumping stations. We could make anything we want. That's the ultimate truth, the hardest one to accept.
Wait, he's saying that it's an
But we
engineering
don't
problem?
sever the priorities.
No, it's not an
That's fine.
engineering problem. It's a
But it's
social
vital
problem
we
in
accept
order to
that there
leverage an
is
engineering
another way.
solution to make beautiful things. And what he describes as beautiful things are things that are just neoliberalism and
Modern
profit
design tells the
maximization,
truth
the
very
maximization of
That we
material
are technologically
profits
superior,
in favor
very
of the
efficient,
spiritual
but
and
also a little bit boring,
insubstantiatable
And it's
qualitative
saying that we no
aspects
longer
about society
believe in
and
the
its
idea
health.
of ordinary beauty, or in the idea of a public that deserves ordinary beauty.
Why do they set me on fire?
Museums and galleries are wonderful places where we can come and look at things that people used to make and admire their handiwork. They're not just dead historical artifacts. These are living echoes of different ideas.
Bro, just
about
go
what
to the
world
art
is
museum. Is that what you're telling people?
and what the world could be.
But like the postmodernist slop is
But
confusing people.
the
Having a
end
urinal in a
of
museum is confusing and people can't handle it.
Now, why things have changed is a significant question. But that's for another time.
That's for another
For now,
time.
What's important is to realize that things clearly
We need to make
have
things beautiful.
changed. And that
Make
we
things
learn
aesthetic
this
again.
just by looking at all
Put
the
everything
objects
into an edit.
around us.
Aestheticize
Now,
everything.
This isn't about past versus present. It's about learning from the past in order to improve the present.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he's saying.
And what the Victorians
This guy is, yeah, I mean, I really
Is that
appreciate the new way that he said
useful things.
we used to make the
also be
trains
beautiful.
run straight, and it's like, yeah, you know, the trains used to run straight or on time. Is that V intentional? I feel like that's what he was saying, and it's like really not much more beyond that, which is a little disappointing. Did he make a follow-up video? The Modern Worlds. Did he make a follow-up video? He has not. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, a half-baked banger. Okay, sure. Was there anything else in the recent, let's see, in my saved videos? Otherwise, we can go to the criticism of Jevon's paradox. Right? Climate change actually isn't a thing. Alright, we might have to... Let's see here. What's going on? Here we go. Climate hope. Let's see. What's going on here? Technological advancements make a resource more efficient to use. If demand is highly price elastic, this results in dramatic increase in demand, causing total consumption to rise. Okay, but like a lot of things are also inelastic, and we still got them as a thing. Okay, so using a thing, you can make it more efficient. The rebound effect, here we go. Consumers tend to travel more when their cars are more fuel efficient, causing a rebound effect in the demand for fuel. I see. Yeah, okay, so this is the difference between two inelastic goods, or inelastic and inelastic. Okay, is that it? What is the artificial intelligence? For 3 conditions will be met. Which increases efficiency or productivity. The efficiency productivity boost must result in a decreased consumer price for such goods or services. That reduced price must drastically increase quantity demanded. And okay, so we're going to accelerate the climate with that? Is that what NVIDIA is telling us? Interesting. Okay, so the more we use the thing, the more it's efficient, the more we use it, and so it piles on. And then I think this is the main criticism that I've ever gotten from somebody about the idea of Jevon's paradox. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. We're doing reading. Okay. Hammer in hand. Who's afraid of the big bad Jevon's paradox? Climate Hope Part 1. I guess this is just going to be like a geo-renovating blog or something. Alright, get out of here. See ya, chat. I've been thinking a lot about the climate crisis lately. Published 2016. What can I do to address such a huge problem? Is a path to a positive future for my children still possible? Is there real potential for securing a livable future? At Hammer in Hand, we review passive house and net zero energy buildings as a form of climate action. But when I tout planetary benefit of the high performance building and distributed energy production, I'm being honest with myself, with our clients. Okay, high performance building. What is high performance building? And what is distributed energy production? What is that? You just using a generator? Passive house, we put a solar array. Okay. I've a deep dive. Fossil fuel extraction. Let's go to the, hold on. A little bit of music. Just over a year ago, I started pulling on this thread of inquiry. It led me to a deep dive into the Jevon's paradox, a crash course in the raging battle between the economics of fossil fuel extraction versus renewable energy production, to a discovery of the non-linear nature of both the risks posed by climate change and their potential solutions. Yes, it's complicated. It also led me to the place of climate hope. Okay, cool. Yeah, we do have the potential to fix the climate right now. The journey coalesced into a presentation that I began making to colleagues in the high-performance building community, including keynotes at the North American Passive House Conference, the Passive House Northwest Conference, and elsewhere. So it feels like time to share a written version here on H&H's Field Notes blog. Okay. Humanity has embarked on vast planetary experiments. Okay, experiment is an interesting way to describe things because we ask patients for consent before we consider an experiment. And if they're animals, we euthanize them humanely. How humanely are the conductors of this experiment going to euthanize us? We've blown past the line of 350 parts per million of atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration. The climate change, what's its face, that we should not ever cross. Warning, warning, warning. The Grappaloshas are an unprecedented trajectory. Yep. The change in the makeup of our atmosphere is already having major impacts on the climate, on the planet. Should come as no surprise. After all, the heat trapped by the human-induced... I mean, humans are at least a couple million years old. This graph should be, like, much longer. The XKCD one is really nice.
The sky looks so big we tend to think of it that our atmosphere is vast, but in reality it's a surprisingly thin membrane enveloping the planet. If the Earth were an apple, the atmosphere would be thinner than the skin of that apple, yet fragile air protects us. Yeah. Carbon pollution, we're pumping in, threatens its life. Yep. From melting ice, acidifying oxygen, depleted oceans. It's withering heat and dust bolification. No, that's changes in precipitation because of variations in heat across the surface of the lands. To droughts and destructive deluges, to multi-meter sea level rise in our lifetime, to mass extinction, famine, to fascism, to security pressures caused by the displacement of millions. Security pressures, yeah, there it is, fashion. The stakes are high. You likely know much of this, so I won't dwell here on the myriad of impacts from climate disruption, but I do want to point out that one of the various reasons that climate change is so dangerous is that it's full of feedback loops. Feedback loops, yippee! Things go out, come out. Fuck, this pencil's still here. For students of climate change, often the first such feedback loop we learn about is the waning albedo, the reflectivity of the Earth, well, the ice. The more white ice we've got, feedback loops. How about this for a feedback loop? The fetishization of the consumption of meat at every meal because it's a sign of wealth. So more of the sun's rays are absorbed by the Earth as a heat energy. This warms the planet more, melts more ice. Yeah, you get yourself a vicious feedback cycle. Methane released from the melting permafrost is such another vicious cycle. As warming causes permafrost to melt, much of the methane trapped in that permafrost will be released into the atmosphere. Though relatively short-lived as a greenhouse gas compared to the carbon dioxide, methane is much more potent. Okay, permafrost melting, and then the permafrost is going to release more methane. Yep. James Hansen and other climate scientists made headlines warning of the possibility of a multi-meter sea rise, also shutting down of the AMOC, which is something that brings a lot of warm weather and precipitation to northern Europe. Mostly England. England is always raining. The reason for the steep revision is that their research uncovered that what they believe to be a feedback loop driving exponential increases in the melting of sheet ices. As the ice meltwater pools at the poles, it triggers a process that accelerates the disintegration of ice sheets, which speeds melting. I mean, do we still trust the Trump administration's like ice sheet on NASA? Extent of ice. How are we looking? Within a highly variable time in our lives. September 24th is the last reading? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Whatever. Point is that with climate change risk, we're in non-linear change territory. It's a realm of tipping points and looming system disruptions. Yep. One piece of good news is that more and more of us understand the urgency of climate change. We can conserve energy, use more efficiently, transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, whatever clean energy means. Improve land use, whatever improved land use means. Reforest, I agree. Improve stewardship of soils. Also, I agree, 100%. Also, we need to shrink the use of soils for agriculture and prioritize the agriculture of fruits, vegetables, seeds, and also not necessarily fruit-bearing plants that can house insects and birds and such. Alright, I need to shut down this fucking puzzle game. There we go. It's done. Some emphasize population as a key piece of the climate action puzzle, which is fine, as long as the focus is on equity, education, empowerment, rather than on coercion. Well, you know, we might need a little bit of that to get that down. It seems like the people who are highly invested in continuing exactly these rogue trains of feedback loops for the accumulation of wealth might have a little bit of resistance. And in fact, equity, education, empowerment, and consensus probably makes Hammer and Hands and the author here a Libcuck. So, you know, we might be, I'm not saying you should go out and punch an oil executive, but we might need a little bit of coercion to get this shit straight. Hey Caramel, how's it going in YouTube chat? If you're in YouTube and you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. We got marketable content here almost every Saturday. Almost on time at 12 EST. Almost on time, every time, 80% of the time, all the time. In his Al Gore book, he cites the 4 conditions that combined foster declining population growth rates. Interesting, Al Gore. Low infant mortality rates. That's true. That's technology right there. And also hand washing. Education for girls. Girls getting their smarts on is lower fertility? Bro, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, at least the education system right now, the amount of time that it takes in order to train somebody to get them into a job, I don't think it takes all of whatever, like 12 years from middle school to high school and undergraduate. Like, I feel like as long as you keep people like in an ability to explore new questions, you can compress them and shape them into a career path like pretty easily. I mean, education for girls being a reason that population growth rates have declined is more of a insult against the amount of time it takes to get qualifications to do a job. 3, empowerment of women. Okay, is that not the same thing? Women can vote, and so now that's lowering population. Was fucking Al Gore an incel? Yo, what? That's kind of crazy. Universal access to contraception, sure, yeah, I mean, but also we can stimulate, like, where's the, it's just too expensive, like, how much does it cost to get groceries for one person, much less a fucking child, much less a whole family, hello? Foster declining population growth rates, and there's literally nothing from Al Gore about inflation. Nice. The Kaya identity, developed by Yoichi Kaya, nicely summarizes both the math behind greenhouse gas emissions and the potential levers for climate action. Why is it just these things multiplied by each other? I don't care. Why is GDP per capita necessarily integrated into carbon intensity? Or energy intensity? It doesn't have to be. I mean, these two are... this is like doubling the same value. GDP per capita, you're removing the capita with the population. Whatever. If we want a future of 0 emissions, then one or more of these circles needs to reach 0. No, that's not how this works. That's not at all how it works. We need to get stuff out of it. You literally described earlier that that these are cycles. We need to siphon things out of the cycles and into new reservoirs, right? Fossil fuels are reservoirs of hydrocarbon, and hydrocarbons can be reintegrated into stuff like trees, which is where the most amount of carbon is stored above the surface. It's also very efficient. If we want a future of 0, we hope GDP will increase as billions of people rise out of poverty across the world. Yeah, it's lib shit. So the second circle will grow too, but you want it to be 0. That means we need to, this literal liberalism end of history. GDP is always going to go up. Sure. That means that we need to make major progress with the energy intensity and carbon intensity of global economy to shrink those 2 circles towards 0 if we hope to reach 0 emissions. But if we hope towards 0, it's like, okay, you admit that it's asymptotic. It's aspirational. Who knows how we're ever going to do it? That means the revolution in energy efficiency and renewable energy generation. Okay, it's a technological innovation that needs to come. And make no mistake, 0 emissions is where we need to head. The current international consensus articulated in Paris is that we need to reach negative emissions during the second half of the century if we want to limit warming to 1.5. Yes, we need to not only stop all of our carbon emissions, we also need to start planting a fuck ton of trees. The bottom line graphed in this chart shows the trajectory we'll need to follow during the first half of the century. Okay, this was, yep, so we are, yeah, here? Well, you know what they say about planting trees. Best day was in 2012, and the second best day is yesterday. In order to limit warming to 1.5 C, we need to reduce greenhouse gases emissions by 73%. Well, by 130%. Okay. Population growth, and yes, take us 92 gigatons. Okay, so he's saying like What? The most efficient way to combat climate change is also to kill off the population? Is this what this guy's saying? Because, like, he's talked about GDP per capita, carbon intensity he thinks we can reduce to 0, energy intensity they think we can reach to 0, but, like, for real. This reduction needs to happen in the face of population growth and economic development that would otherwise, if we continued with business as usual, burning of fossil fuels takes us to 92 gigatons of CO2 equivalent to emitted annually in 2050. Right, so this guy's framework involves just killing a bunch of people. This framework right here, rather than what we had in the last article. No small feat. We in the high-performance building industry understand that buildings are currently part of the problem. It's that Americans can't buy houses, and they're generally made like really cheap, and zoning anything that is genuinely aesthetic and pretty, like row houses that are brick, doesn't exist anymore. Everything needs to have street parking. But we also know that if buildings are part of the problem, they can also be part of the solution. Sure. At our fingertips to reduce building. Okay, yeah, there's advertisement for your thing. Okay, onto Jevon's paradox. It is wholly a confusion of ideas to suppose that the economic use of fuel is equivalent to a diminishing consumption. This is very contrary to truth. Okay. Right, economical is social and particular, but I mean, you're also trying to equate it to something. This is sort of like, oh, whatever. Royal coal question, a time when he and others were growing increasingly concerned about Britain's dwindling coal supply. Energy efficiency seemed natural as a means of mitigating this limited energy supply, but what Evans observed with the uber-efficient James Watt steam engine caused him to believe otherwise. And these observations became the basis of what is known as the Jevons paradox. Okay. Quintuple engine efficiency and use 75 less coal in its predecessor. Okay, yeah, so they mass-produced a bunch of it to meet the desires and the profit margins of a bunch of people, and so actually the absolute use of coal didn't really drop. So technological innovation did not I guess improve society for the better, but like the reduction of distances with the coal engine and the car is valuable, and it doesn't seem like they're contending with this right now, or that's what they might bring up. Coal consumption will go down thanks to great news, right? It's not what happened. Okay, yeah. Started using it for everything. Yep, like the Ford. Yep. When there's something of quality, they use it a lot. So it's not a technological problem; it's a social problem that we need to fix. Process is very sensitive to the cost of the energy. Okay. Sure, thing is, we're much more likely to see inelastic demand curves in relation to energy. Are we? But like, once... No. I think as it adopts, right? You should put a Jevons paradox curve or a product adoption in its life cycle curve on a time axis, and it would like turn this way, right? It would become more steep as everybody has the product, as more people are integrated into the Apple ecosystem. The inelasticity for the newest and brightest product diminishes, but for the older products you can have a little bit more variety. But you know, everyone's got to have the thing. This is sort of like the reason that railways have the same axillary distance as the Roman Empire. Or, you know, the wagons in the Roman Empire. I mean, like, it shifts with the adoption of the technology, of the product. Right? Healthcare, something that we would be interested in widely adopting, highly inelastic. Consider a Prius driver. Priuses are roughly twice as efficient. That's because there are tons of considerations that go into the decision to drive, not just the cost of gasoline, the rest of us. Let's save some time that the Prius driver doesn't actually increase their driving at all. He or she uses some of the saved money to buy an iPad, which requires energy produced, and some of the energy to build, so there's a rebound there. Some of the energy saved from the fuel efficiency of the Prius is on the greater energy consumption, but the greater energy consumption is so that they can use it while they're in traffic to watch Cocomelon. But then again, maybe she's feeling virtuous and uses that money saved out of the pump to switch from conventional veggies to organic ones. Fetishization of organic goods is probably a red flag. I can't put my finger on why, but probably, yeah. Or maybe they use it to reinvest in their house. I see. The point is of what she builds with the money she saves at the pump matters. That pattern will likely mirror her overall spending habits, much of which just consumes energy. Yep. Big rebounds. Late Lee Shipper. Berkeley put it well in his quote. The key to understanding Jevons is that processes, products, and activities where energy is at a very high part of the cost. Very few metals, chemicals, air travel, the ones whose variable cost is very sensitive to energy. That's it. Okay, so they're very sensitive to energy, and we need to conserve them. But like the pharmaceutical industry has a huge profit margin. Airline travel does not have a huge margin of error. Like they're a highly they're certainly an industry of scale that should be an industry of scale, and I think most chemical industries should be industries of scale so that we can reduce the socio-ecological impacts on them. But that would require one supervising entity, but the stimulation of innovation and competition within the entity and between individuals within the entity. Okay. The things in our economy that are very sensitive to the cost of energy are few and far between. Few metals, few chemicals. No, there are a lot. These are the things that are potentially like we don't produce steel anymore. We don't produce chemicals in America anymore. There are things that are potentially exposed to the energy efficiency backfire of the Jevons paradox. Everywhere else, it's much smaller efficiency rebounds. What? So why are we still thinking about it? Politics. Quote unquote politics. Just too attractive to folks opposed to energy efficiency mandates to let the energy die. So the cottage industry of Jevons paradox storytelling has emerged. That's why you see Jevons crop up in opinion pages, in the writings of the Libertarian Cato Institute, and the agendas of the Breakthrough Institute. Totally unrelated to Bill Gates' Breakthrough Energy Coalition, by the way, is an interesting one. Holy schizo. They've got their branding down. The Cato Institute, Wall Street Journal, the Breakthrough Institute, and the Bill Gates Coalition are all in a conspiracy against hammer-in-hand construction and woodcraft's perspective on the Jevons paradox. Eco-modernist think tank. Yeah, so they got... Okay, so what? They're just signaling to greenwashing capitalism? Yep, makes sense. Also efficiency mandates. Okay, but like the problem with this article is that you're using it to promote your energy efficient housing, and what you're demanding of all these institutions is that they stop treating it like just a social issue when it's also a technological and social issue. And the social issue is very much so an easier environment to work towards desirable goals that are improving people's lives. Pro-Jevons paradox, but Jevons paradox is the pro-Jevons paradox people don't want me installing solar panels on homes. That's what this article is sort of coming down to, is what I'm feeling. And much of the marketing of the marketable Jevons paradox originates from these guys, including much of the economics writing meant to prove that the paradox is relevant today. When you hear the Jevons paradox being brought up, you likely hear a sound of political axe running too. Okay, where does this doesn't talk about alienation. We don't take it from my word. Story goes like this. Back in the 40s, okay, energy, yeah, hyper. Age of Miss America. What the fuck is this? Never mind is perfectly plausible explanation for the emergence of the double-wide fridge in the American kitchen that has become wealthier since the 1940s. Have larger, well, after the 1940s, that's when all the partnerships between public and private industry were developed, as well as the plan for the suburbs to make sure that everybody gets a bunch of electronics and industries and cars. And so, yeah, have a healthy, vast middle class sprawling across the suburbs to subsidize their life at the expense of the young. And have larger houses with big kitchens that fit big fridges. This would argue in ours. Affluency, not a fridge. Energy efficiency is causing increase. Okay, sure. Like, I don't know. Are they trying to pretend that it applies to literally everything? Age of Miss America? Murders by steam. Like, correlation. Okay, yeah, correlation does not equal causation. Capital consumption is high correlated to high U.S. Is it correlated? Chicken consumed. Okay, people are eating less meat when barrel imports are lower. And lower barrel input seems to be around economic crises. But like chicken is a pretty cheap meat. Like what conclusions are we drawing from the spurious correlations at tylervigan.net? Distance between Saturn and the moon. Oh, this is cool. Number of secretaries in Rhode Island, customer satisfaction with UPS globally? Or just like locally? Popularity of the first name Jamila, air quality in Phoenix. I mean, I don't think this is enough. People started smoking that good shit, and then they they stopped naming everybody Jamila, and then they did it again. Whatever. Spurious correlations. Okay, we're done with spurious correlations. Okay, so now that we know, okay, so you use 3, okay, whatever. However, the Jevons paradox truly were at play with fridge size. We would expect a fridge efficiency and fridge size to track closely together, and a graph of these two variables would look much like the bedsheet. You can only make a fridge so efficient, though, right? Like physics. You can only go with the law, the log return of microchips per processor for so long until you run into problems with literal physics. You can't be doing Maxwell's demon and shutting the system down when there's the least amount of energy on one side and not the other. Okay. Track closely and the graph of the two variable to look much like a bedsheet entangling the graph above. Instead, this is what happens. Okay. Energy. U.S. sales, average energy, adjusted volume of sales, real price. And so the price diminishes. The average energy use declines. And the volume produced, I mean, it seems like pretty stable here. Like, it literally, from 1977 to 2000, it stays at about, whatever, 20,000 units per month, whatever, feet squared. Shared this graph as part of his article debunking the Jevons paradox. Oh, we're debunking it. Some dilemma, efficient application use uses less energy. Wait, but like debunking it in a single industry when the whole idea is that, yeah, energy comes into systems and it comes out and dynamics can change, and it looks like they were associated for a little while and then now they're no longer, and there was some change at 1975. Is that an unreasonable conclusion? U.S. sales average energy use. Where is this fucking data coming from? By allowing consumers to save money that would otherwise go to high and wasted energy bills, efficient applications have caused Americans to abandon the simple life. Oh. Wait, this is like... David Goldstein's best attempt at people trying to understand why everything is dog shit, including the massive amounts of economic inequality, the massive bins of food that go to waste while people starve in America, the mass consumption of entities, and apparently seriously, and we should not take seriously, that customers who save money would otherwise go... And these efficient applications have caused Americans to abandon the simple life. Well, yeah, it has caused Americans to abandon the simple life, and the simple life was also a life that didn't have antibiotics and it didn't have air conditioning. We're probably going to need air conditioning, but that isn't necessarily a reason to not make it more efficient. But is this like something we shouldn't take seriously, Mr. David Goldstein? Owen, whose expertise lies in the unrelated field of golfing. Owen? What? The efficient... Okay, so this guy can't talk about the Jevons paradox, even though Jevons paradox was published a couple dozen years ago, and it doesn't necessarily even... it doesn't imply that there's a constant attachment between the depletion of resources. Like, I don't know, this looks like a peak oil curve to me. Owen, whose expertise lies in an unrelated field of golfing. Sure, okay, they can't talk about it. Cobbled together this thesis. Alright, so, okay, an entire paragraph to talk them down because they're pseudo-intellectual bullshit. And Dr. David Goldstein, who is, I'm sure somebody that I can look up very easily. A geneticist. They're a geneticist? Fluid dynamics. Genetics. However, okay, so we're done with the condescension. The reality is that the increase in efficiency of applications is a huge success story for all consumers who benefit from the saving of these products provide. Refrigerator energy was growing, with a trend that would have resulted in an electricity demand of about 175 gigawatts by today, but with efficiency policies, okay, that were expected but are not needed. Okay, so that's GDP that's lost. Blames a host of evils on efficiency. I mean, there's a lot of things that are wrong with efficiency, like the first in, first out mindset is 100%. There's a lot of things that the first in and out, the culture of first in and out, first in, first out production with no room for analysis of the nodes and the flows through the system and the reservoirs and the stoppages is really tough. Host of evils on efficiency with accusations and facts. Insulate there, don't absorb all the savings by sweltering in the winter, and buyers of the efficient rivers don't start leaving the doors open gratuitously. What? What does this even say? Why is it what? So rebound effects are getting small and smaller over time? The energy efficiency... Wait, but like, isn't this exactly how AI pricing is going to have to go? Like, the widespread adoption of it is super cheap and it's subsidized by the affluent, wealthy class and lowering interest rates. But the adoption of the technology is going to be far more massive, which becomes a reliance on the technology. And then the technology goes from being an elastic good to an inelastic good. And so you do have that whipping. But this is like AI. This is 2010. So they're arguing about fucking washing machines. Okay, they're literally just talking about refrigerators. Per capita electricity consumption. Okay, the country before 1974 was not using electricity. Is that really the case? So if anything is rebounding, the influence of the energy efficient policies, they are causing the whole economy. through policy and showing divergent usage trends from its neighbors, thus demonstrating that energy perhaps is saved. Perhaps this is why the serious studies in which Owens referred to found that the economy found it trivial. I want to do this show. Embedded things we used to manufacture domestically, but now import. Globalism. Yeah, how about that? That's actually also a very salient point. We no longer manufacture the things that we use domestically here, and we also ship a lot of the stuff that we keep domestically out. So there's a lot of externalities that are not being considered in this conception. The detailed version looks separately at residential, commercial, and industrial uses of electricity in California compared to the rest of the nation. Graph just looks the same. So while we can argue about how much different the industrial sector would look if we added Chinese imports, clearly not importing buildings or the operation of lights and appliances. Yeah, but like, there's constantly factories that are supplying a certain area. Like, I mean, I don't know. How much is like the port also run in California? Not inconsistent with the theory. One of the biggest impediments to save energy is that it's not so efficient. Small fraction of GDP, authors suggest 6% is too small for people to pay attention to. Not only do people ignore efficiency, okay, but you need efficiency and sufficiency, and damn, what was the last one? I'll think about it later. No, pay for more efficient lighting. Okay, so this is just like an argument for energy efficient light bulbs. We aren't going to be using more light bulbs just because we're using an energy efficient one, or like unless they're deliberately engineered to fail. That wouldn't be the case, would it be? They're small. Okay, so energy rebounds. But like the idea of Jevon's paradox is that the adoption of wide technologies, and you're sort of just focusing on energy. I guess Jevon's paradox started with like the coal energy, but it's going to be more efficient for a technology to use a particular source of energy and then shift that towards others, right? Because there are externalities to each of these systems. First the coal, then the natural gas and the oil, and in the future, green. So I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of done with this. Talk about microeconomic scale. The scale of sale of cars, fridges, and houses. No, you have not. You have not. We don't need more houses. We can get taller houses. We don't need more sprawl. We don't need more cars. United States per capita energy use. I mean, are we supposed to like skyrocket? Back then we were lighting our building with candles, very inefficient. Fast forward to 2016 and we got super efficient. United States per capita energy use. Wait, does that just mean like per capita like drops or like energy use increases? From 1850, I mean this is just like industrialization, right? And like industrialization stopped at about 1970. Like, this makes sense. 60, 70, 80, 90, 70. Bretton Woods ended right here. This is like, holy fuck. Are we kidding? Yes, they literally did the globalism. Proof of Jevon's paradox. Well, if you look at the right here, there's a little kink in it, and it breaks. First, we have become much richer as a society over the past few centuries. Okay, yeah, some people have. And also inequality has risen. Invented lots of machines, lots of cool toys. And here's the Henry Ford glazing. There it is. There's the mask off. What else do we have? Maybe Jevon's paradox simply isn't relevant to our world today. What an insane thing to say. Put a price on carbon. Ah, yes, the financialization of carbon is the solution to this. We can just give these people money for not making oil. The World Bank is advocating for carbon taxes around the world. Thank you, World Bank. I'm not saying I have a ton of trust for these guys, but we're talking about 6 major oil companies advocating for a meaningful carbon tax. So, you won't glaze the mainstream media, you'll chagrin the MSNBC news, but when the oil companies come knocking on your democratically representative institution saying, hey, we really want this thing passed, it would be so good for the future of the world. We promise that we'll be dropping carbon emissions with this non-invasive and incentivizing piece of policy. And so you just trust them. Another thought is if they're involved at the table, these oil majors make sure that the tax is low. Third theory is that because, whatever. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of done. And the article is done. This is all just like literally swans, buildings, and climate action. What the fuck? Nemesis and Devil's Advocate. Anybody saying that Devil's Advocate is the same as Steel Manning, I think is genuinely foolish. Buried in the ground. What is it? Just digging up, drilling, and burning it? What? He's playing a combination of Nemesis, but Follow have to do have tremendous power and tremendous financial stake in what happens with the coal barriers. What's to keep them from just digging it up and drilling and burning it? Are you afraid of burning it? Wait, okay, yeah. The inevitable. Well, okay, delaying the inevitable. But, like, this is such a, like, a determinist thing for him to say, and I don't think he would be saying it, because he was just making an observation about the return on profit of coal, right? Or even if, like, you have lower energy. How the fuck does a technological innovation which reduces the use of energy for a particular product and disseminates widely across the population, doesn't diminish the total use of the resource, but in fact maintains it or increases it because of increased demand even. Okay, so the most thing that this guy's not talking about, he's steel manning Jevon's paradox, which is the projection that, you know, most of it is going to intensify, or that there's going to be a stagnation period, a senescence period, where a new technology is going to be adopted. Wait, but like this article didn't even address the other points. Whatever. I think we're done with this. This is we got the point. Anybody spending more than 2 paragraphs describing causation and correlation and causality while they're a fucking wood and hammer construction causation builder, I think is like, all right, whatever, fine. Like, yeah, good job. You can figure out that running a nail through your hand is incredibly painful. Yep, that's the causation you got. Cool. Alrighty. Chat, we're wrapping it up for today. I hope you all have a lovely evening. We're gonna see if we can rate a couple of people. Who up? You know what I'm saying? Who up streaming? Who up rating? Me. I know I am. Oh, Rezaqueer is up. Actually, I'm probably gonna watch that. I still need to. Let's do that. All right, we're joining. 1 viewer, 2 viewers. Yeah, everybody on YouTube, come over. Everyone on YouTube, come over to Twitch. We're rating on Twitch. Ending the YouTube stream. Bye, YouTube. Bye bye. See you later. And then